vote in Labour again. Whether lightning, thunder, sun or rain, we vote in Labour again. We vote in Labour again. We vote in Labour again. Whether earthquake, tsunami or hurricane, we vote in Labour again. Labour rights. Wave your right. Whatever red you have in your hand, red. Give it. Ça qui conseille ou, gagne un cheval gros boudin, pas que j'aime, aider au chat et zèle. 365 jours dans l'année, chaise n'année ou ka babiller, gardez ou pas yon côté. Ou ka crier pour élection, actuellement élection arrivée, gardez ou ka liblage. Mais jour à que arrivé, là les vacances disaient encore, moi les ouais maman, ça ou que faire. Il faut qu'il les manque, souffrir, il faut qu'il les manque. Whether lightning, thunder, sun or rain, we vote in Labour again. We vote in Labour again. We vote in Labour again. Whether earthquake, tsunami or hurricane, we vote in Labour again. Give it. We vote in Labour again. Wesley, we vote in Labour again. Marigot. Whether lightning, thunder, sun or rain, we vote in Labour again. We vote in Labour again. We vote in Labour again.
Dominica, you ready? Dominica, you ready? Dominica, you ready?
There's no turning back. No, 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 no. Nous jala, nous pas canaquer. Avancer, we advancing. Forward. We ain't going nowhere. Yes. Just because you bounce back and you're looking good, now they want to be in your neighborhood. Your economy on track, there's no turning back. Now they want to be in your neighborhood. The same people who hurt you for years, brought you so much pain and tears. Now they want to return again to bring you frustration and pain. Dominica, Dominica in red. I happy you happy, not blue. Nobody wrongs you. Should try to take your dream from you. I want you to know you look beautiful, you glow. I shall never forget Dominica, the way they stress you with so much debt. I shall never forget the way they stress you with so much debt. Dominica, this song is for you, 'cause you're going nowhere. Hey, get 'em. Yeah, mama, hey. Something nice. Want to cause a divorce, saying change is a must. Now they want to be in your neighborhood. Children going to school, you look happy in red. Now they want to be in the neighborhood. In spite of how things are tough, your senior citizens taken care of. And you have some genuine friends on who you could depend. Dominica, Dominica in red. I'm happy you happy, not blue. Nobody wronged you. Should take your joy, girl, from you. I want you to know you look beautiful, stress you with so much debt. I shall never forget the way they stress you with so much debt. Hey, do not mess with a ripping saw. I wanna know, we are not regressing, we are advancing. I'm gonna say forward. We're moving on. Get them. No appreciation come on for your van. Now they want to be in your neighborhood. You only like company sell for little money. Now they want to be in your neighborhood. Computer did always break down. Salary was always late in tongue. From Lime and Social Security, they did tired, borrow money. Dominica wanting you, Dominica in red. I happy you happy, not blue. Nobody wronged you, should take your joy girl from you. I want you to know, you look beautiful, you glow. I can never forget, no, the way they stress you with so much debt. I shall never forget, Dominica, the way they stress you with so much debt. Hey, we are turning back your way. Avance, hey, forward. Because you're looking nice, they think it's so. We're moving forward. Yeah, my. Numbers.
Whoa, easily back in the studios again, man. That's right. Weezy 767, man. Who we voted? Who we
Uh-huh. Everybody! Jala, give it spin. 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 Hey. We shall not be moved. We shall not be moved. Just like the trees that planted by the waters, Labour Party shall not be moved. We shall not be moved. We shall not be moved. Just like the trees that planted by the waters, Labour Party shall not be moved. They could come with propaganda, all their lies and all the slander, try to mislead the people with their hate and all their evil. We shall not be moved. We shall not be moved. Just like the trees that planted by the waters, Labour Party shall not be moved. The best thing that happened to this country is Garrett and the Labour Party. We wanna bring to bankruptcy. Now have a growth in the economy. Got a leader with endless vision, youthfulness and dedication. Suspect that things would be tight. Went to China on the next flight. Cuba and Venezuela, what a brilliant leader. We shall not be moved. We shall not be moved. Just like the trees that planted by the waters, Labour Party shall not be moved. We shall not be moved. We shall not be just like the trees that planted by the waters, Labour Party shall not be moved. They could come with propaganda, all the lies and the slander, try to mislead my people with their hate and evil. We shall not be moved. We shall not be moved. Just like the trees that planted by the waters, Labour Party shall not be moved. That's it. Jalala, everybody, put up something red. Where we go on your head. All of them forget the current people. Labour stepping, they want to cause trouble. Politically now goes have no respect. Exploiting them on the water project. Superior Scotland used to borrow to Labour to build their seawall. Giro, they would have to back it. Water tank on Labour fix it. Whether you teacher, leader, elder, must give credit to Labour. You better believe it. We shall not be moved. We shall not be moved. Just like the trees that planted by the waters, Labour Party shall not be moved. We shall not be moved. We shall not be moved. Just like the trees that's planted by the water, Labour Party shall not be moved. Look out for a 5-star hotel, highway to Posse as well, seaport reconstruction, rosary modification. We shall not be moved. We shall not be moved. Just like the trees that planted by the water, Labour Party shall not be moved. Chance up. Nujala, 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 Nujala. Just something red, wave that over your head. Some will never see the importance to give up for people assistance. So they have a problem with the clinic. Measures say they want to block it. Imagine they get in office, what would be their wicked practice? It's for people who put you there. At all time you got to show you care. The party in a working mood, don't interrupt that move. We shall not be moved. We shall not be moved. Just like the trees that's planted by the waters, Labour Party shall not be moved. We shall not be moved. Just like the trees that's planted by the waters, Labour Party shall not be moved. The government helping squatters to get their land and quarters, helping people. Some of you have an issue. We shall not be moved. Just like the trees that's planted by the waters, Labour Party shall not be moved. You better know Nujala, Nujala. Hey, raise up something red, wave that over your head. Indeed, it is first time in our history people get medical for free. 18 and under and over 65. You shall never be deprived. Big focus on human resource, people well-being's compass, universal education, scholarship and transportation. What the selfless party would invest our country. Yeah. We shall not be moved. Just like the trees that's planted by the waters, Labour Party shall not be moved. We shall not be moved. Just like the trees that's planted by the waters, Labour Party shall not be moved. Oh, but what a brilliant stadium. The bridge and road all around. Improvement on all road networks. Airport is no joke. We shall not be moved. Just like the trees that's planted by the waters, Labour Party shall not be moved. Janta, Nujala, put up something red, wave it over your head. Hey, hey, everybody, Nujala, hey. Not white, not red, not yellow, not blue. Hey, let me see you shoot. Show me how well you do. Nujala, raise up the red, wave it over your head. Prosperity and the level, I see victory. We as well, Melissa scary for the city.
votes. Over 50,000 votes. Look votes, Benville, we full of votes. People crew, by the shoot to put your votes. Who you voting? Who you voting? On the Lapland, we don't know. We voted Kent Edwards, baby. Harry Perry, Roslyn Paul, Rosanna, you're massive. Rosanna, Daniel, baby. Isaac, PM, ring the bell, ring it, ring the bell, ring it, PM, ring the bell, ring it, ring the bell. Ready, PM, ring the bell, 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 ring the bell. I see level, I see victory. I see 5 more years, I see history. When I see level, I see victory. Melissa scary for the city. We full of votes. Over 50,000 votes. We full of votes. By the shoot to put your votes.
Ring the bell. Where is the bell, ladies and gentlemen?
On level, right, coming. Coming level, right, the bell. PM, ring the bell, ring the bell. When I see level, I see victory.
Yes, I am here. A special good evening and welcome to you wherever you are listening across Dominica to the north, south, east, and west coast of the beautiful Nature Island. Want to say a special welcome to our listeners in St. Lucia, St. Martin, Anguilla, St. Thomas, and the U.S. Virgin Island. Want to say a special welcome to all the folks who are joining us in the United States and Canada. Of course, not forgetting London. Yeah, man. Big up to all the folks who are joining us in the UK there. Not forgetting Guada, Martinique, Saka, Feta, Suela. Alors, moi, les souhaiter autres. Bonsoir. Magwaza, eve mouche Guada, Saka Feta. À montant nous ka préparer corps pour descendre et voter ba Mouche Henderson en Guambe. Moi les souhaite bonsoir monsieur. Yes my people, it is another Saturday evening right here in the Commonwealth of Dominica. I want to say a special good evening to our political leader and the Prime Minister of the Commonwealth of Dominica, Dr. Skerritt and family, and to all of the cabinet ministers and senators and all of the good folks who are of course on the front line carrying out the very much hard work in doing everything to save the lives of our citizens against this deadly virus called COVID-19. This thing is just messieurs. So many people are dying across the world. And it seems like Ipaka Ale, just now we're hearing about the booster shot, messieurs. Wow. You might have to imagine that. You might have to take a booster and even another booster because it looks like once 6 months gone, they think you need something else to step it up. So you never know what's going to happen. Very soon in the region, we might hear about we are ready for the booster shot. But it is what it is. Hope you all are taking your vaccine and getting yourself ready. Want to say a special welcome to all the listeners on the Kyrie FM Facebook page who are always there religiously every evening, joining us on the live. Yes, if you want to, of course, view the next level, you can always log into the Kyrie FM Facebook page where you can also see, you can see the program live and at the same time feel free to comment and have yourself discussing what we are discussing tonight. But like we do it here on the next level, we got to take your calls when we start this program. So I want to shout out my Flossy. Good evening to you. Mr. Monroe, how are you doing this evening? Want to say a special good evening to you as well. And at Bets, Sakafet, I hope that you are doing great, my dear. Of course, and to all the folks who are always tuned in South City, Grand Bay. Yeah, man. Guambe, Sakafet Guambe. And that's where we're going to do it there. It's happening on the 25th of this month, monsieur. And that will be when? Thursday. Yes, Thursday coming. Yes, our brother there, ambassador, because you're fâché. So Ambassador Henderson will no doubt be bringing the Grand Bay seat, yes, where it belongs. Yeah, man, to the Dominica Labour Party. Just want to say big up to all the folks in South City who are solid with the Dominica Labour Party. Continue to keep that thought going. But the telephones are going, so got to take your calls. Call a good evening on the local line.
Good night to you, Simeon.
My brother, how you doing?
That's the mobile man, my brother.
Loud and clear.
I want to say especially good night to my Prime Minister, Dr. Roosevelt Skerrit, and also my pirate, Shikara Lockhart Hippolyte. My brother, this is my pirate. This is the lady I vote for. This is the lady I put there to help to put in the Rose of Fort, my brother.
Yes.
And good night to you, my lady, and the listeners. Simeon?
Yeah.
The police station I want to hit to. The combination of police.
What happened?
Simeon, the mobile man ended up into an incident, Simeon. It wasn't that you don't even hear in my voice, my brother. My brother, my neighbors in Fort Lee, good night to you. They told me going to a month that the police coming up and to ask for me. Simon, when I heard this, I volunteered myself into the police station and to the CID. Whoever that will need me, look me. I left my number there. Who giving summon and who giving warrant? Look my phone call now. I've been cooperative, my brother. Simeon, Thursday, Simeon, I saw the police transport 11:15 in Fort Lee. I don't know what they're watching. They say they're 10 minutes by watching them. I said 10 minutes is enough. I said, here comes the mobile man. If you all need me, police, look me right here. I just see 4 doors open. And one policeman shouting me, come, come, come. I said, come what? Have respect for me. It have a lot of gentlemen of flow working on the wire, people on the ground. They're shouting after me. When they come, I tell them, come up. When they come up in the gate, they're shouting after me. I said, have respect for me, my yard, my brother. When they come, they told me they have a warrant for me. Simeon, I don't see them and read no warrant, nothing. They said, mobile, you owe in the courts. I said, okay. I said, I have money there. I just come out and work. I have a $400. It don't take me 2 minutes to get it. Them guys tell me it was 4 them. Female and 1 female. 2 young one, and you know what it is, and one ageable, my brother. I tell you, it took me 2 minutes to get that money into what I have money on me. Them tell me put down my hand. And I come, I go. I said, but why you want to go with me? You have warrants. You want the money? It's money. What sense to bring me go? These guys told me that they're going to bring me in the court. They bring me to take tests. Mobile man. 7 times again. Negative. Simeon, did you know? It have a sharp policeman. Everybody know him slim. I don't call his name, you know. He's sharp, slim, he boaster. He does have a darkness in his eyes, my brother. The man telling me where he going to bring me, I'll find out. But I said, but I have money, my brother. This man to be put down, man. This man bring me to stop somebody arguing with me with mobile and the incompetence of workers. That's Shabby man that sent on Bellevue. But I said, but what are you doing, my brother? I speaking on the voice of my party, Labour Party, and the Prime Minister, and my pirate Shikara Lockhart Hippolyte. He told me what nonsense I'm talking about. But anyway, bring me to the stop farm. When he bring stop and they do all their business, the prison officer tell me what I have in my pocket, put it down. Simeon, I have my money on me in my purse, my brother. I have money on me. These fools don't even search me. You're putting me on a arrest, on a arresting, on a police transport. You all fools don't search me, Cornish. What is that? If I was so vile and had a weapon with me, you know what disaster I will do or anybody will do, and that happened to me?
So, Mobile, let me just have a chat with you there. So, how things work out then? So, you end up paying the money and everything settled?
I had my money in my purse up, and this shabby policeman locked me for 6 hours.
6 hours?
6 hours, but I had my money
and
the balance, and I out. When I out, I go to the police station, they're frightened. I said, I have my money on me. You bring me up there, my brother. My brother, you know I can take you out to court.
So
we have up my Prime Minister, but I find a stand.
Yeah.
When I want to see the commissioner of police, This man blocking the gate and tell me I cannot see.
So let me just be short of you because as you know this is a roll call. But just to say,
cannot believe that.
just to ask you, there was a warrant you said for you for something that you a matter before the court. A matter
Yeah,
you
but
had
I have the money. But I have the money.
All right.
And the money end up in stuff. Why you not take the money from me in my place and leave me alone?
Right.
Vivian,
That does happen.
And I'm going to deal that matter and bye-bye to you.
Take care, man. Yes, I mobile. All right. I feel your pain mobile, yeah, because usually the police usually they can come to you if they have a warrant, and if you have the money, then you pay the police. They give you a receipt, and but they don't arrest you. But if you don't have the money at the time when they come to you, they will arrest you. They will bring you in, and you may have to call someone or whatever the case may be to come and take care of that. But that's something that I know how it works. But anyway, you said you had the money and they pick you up and put you in jail anyway. Good evening on the local line there.
Yes, Simo, Calibishi Central. Long time no call, but I always listening. You okay?
Yeah, my dear, I'm good, thank you. And how you keeping?
Yes, I'm fine.
Lovely.
Tell Kwapo I say they haven't got bottom, so they cannot sit down around the Thanksgiving table. And tell the security of the leader of the opposition that come Calibishi and they only go and hide by the bayside and they did not come in the village and at least to greet their people, tell them will and come again. We're waiting for them.
Yes, I. All right. Oh, Lord. Hey, boy, let me tell you something. This world is it's never boring. On the local line, they call a good evening to you. Hi, my dear. I'm good, thank you, and you.
Yes, not too bad. Meredith, good night. Tell him to William come again, you are right.
Yes, I.
So happy show. I'd like to say good evening to my private Miss Lady D and to the Honorable Prime Minister Roosevelt Skerrit, his wife, kids and family. And I would like to say good night as well to Cartier in St. Joseph. Good night, Cartier.
Yes.
St. Joseph. And to Tony in Guadeloupe, Miss and Mistress Guada, Rosonoff, and Mr. Christmas. I'm not hearing your voice. Mistress Leslie in Pebush, good evening as well. Mammy Millicent and your daughter, good evening. Simeon,
yes, my dear.
have a nice weekend and don't stop for nobody on the road. Eh?
I'll always remember that.
Man, you could see in the kitchen crying. Please don't stop.
I won't.
Right.
Yeah, man.
So I'm listening until you finish. You really could sleep, take it better, wake up in it.
Yes, I. Yes, I. Yeah, man.
Je go à bed. Better cause à droite.
Oui.
Droite jaga be mon $7.
Yeah, man.
Yes.
Go and be in the house. Yeah, my brother. Yes, sister. Okay. All right. Take care there. Yes, I there. South City, Gambé, Guabe. Yeah, man. Big up there. On the overseas line, they call a good evening to you.
Simeon.
Hello.
No. How come they have warrant for mobile man and they don't have none for Linton?
Maybe.
For something not right, Simeon. They have warrant for little man and they don't have warrant for big man.
Well, you know it is already. If you have once you owe in the court, and you're paying, they'll have a warrant for you, at some point.
Yeah, but if you know in the court, how come they don't have none for him?
Well, his matter is still pending. I know he have one with Kieran Peanut Burns that I'm not sure whether that's settled yet. And I also know he have some damages to pay for the rapist case. We must find out some update on it, whether he was assessed or not. Yeah.
That is too much of a long pending. They just had it by him and they just take him in. How come they cannot take him in? What happened? They can't touch him? Is he protected by something? Is he in the cocoa field somewhere?
I don't know. I cannot answer to that.
Something not right. Something not right. Mobile man need to take them to court and something not right. Some kind of favors going on there. This is not right.
Well, I can't say. I don't know. I mean, all I can tell you is you once you owe in the system, the court, that's it. You have to make case and pay. That's how it is.
Yeah, don't say nothing. Don't say nothing.
I can't talk on that one. I mute. All right, my dear. On the local line, they call a good evening to you.
Oh, good evening to you, my son.
How are you, mommy?
And that sweet laugh have me going, making me happy.
Yes, I'm happy that you're feeling happy.
Oh, yes. Whenever you come and swim and that laugh, laughing is a health, is a medication, you know.
That's right.
It helps to heal the soul and the mind and the body.
Yes.
So whenever you laugh, it makes everybody feel good.
That's great. I'm happy to know that.
So how was the day?
Day was good, mommy. Very busy day, but God bless. I'm here in one piece, and again, I'm always happy to be here to do the program for you.
Thanks a lot for that.
Yes, ma'am.
And the family, everybody's good?
Doing good together. Thank you, God, for that. Yes.
God bless all of you.
Mm-hmm.
And I say good evening to my Dr. Honorable Prime Minister Roosevelt Skerrit, my son. May God continue to bless, guide, protect, and direct you. May He continue to hold your hands, your wife hands, and your children's hands, and walk with you all through the darkest night and the brightest day. And I claim that most precious blood of Christ Jesus from the crown of your head to the sole of your feet. The Lord have sent you, Prime Minister, to be the leader of this country, to take care of his flocks and of his land. You're doing a fantastic job. And no weapon that form against you shall not prosper. And I say good evening to the Chief of Police, Mr. Carbon, and family. May God continue to bless all of you. Policemen, firemen, fishermen, farmers, all those who bring in food for us on this land, going out on the stormy weather to bring the food, to bring the fish. We have to pray for them. All the laborers in whatever field of work, may God continue to bless all of you. Dominican laborites, all my family's friends here and abroad.
Yes, sir.
May God continue to bless us all in this land and all over the world.
Thank you, ma'am.
Dominican laborites, sir.
Yes, ma'am.
Let us continue to pray. Mr. Vince Henderson, I have no doubt you have already won victorious. You're going to be the one to lead the Granby people in the right path. So keep on praying. Okay, Mr. Amber? Because mommy praying for you and I know you already win victorious. Yes, and all Dominican who supporting this government, may God continue to bless all of you and continue the work you all are doing. God bless everyone. I will call back later.
All right, mommy. Thank you.
My son?
Yes, ma'am. Thanks, sir.
Okay.
All right. Yes, I tell you, boy, the time moved by so quickly. But just taking a couple of your calls again before we get into our discussion here. Good evening to you on the overseas line.
That's your partner.
Hey, Guada, what go, man?
Your boy Guada.
Yes, I. Talk to me.
Guada is ready to go.
So you're booked to come down on the express?
Yes, I.
Yes, I.
By 2 doses vaccine, Guada, we ready to go. But Simeon,
yeah.
In Guada, you know we have a big problem.
Yeah, I see that. I see all you having some protest action up there.
Yes, they already arrest 32.
Wow.
All now under police custody. Because the reason why, what they do, they break in store, they put in fire, because they don't want to take the vaccine. You know, for money is for vaccine, because the reason why, if you don't take the vaccine, they putting you out from your work. And some of them young boys, they take in charge of them things, both in gold store. Even a bank, they put it already.
Wow.
They say nationally, but you know they can never win. They will find yourself in big problem because look, France sent over 200 and something gendarmes that in Guadeloupe already. Oh no, we are at 6 o'clock. We have to be inside.
So you have a 6 o'clock curfew right now?
Yes. We have we under curfew now. Okay, from 6 o'clock, everybody inside. No, I don't hear no transport. I don't hear nothing. Everybody at their home. And people go and work, and that is very wrong of what they do. There are a lot of people that are against what they doing.
Mm-hmm.
You check. Maybe if my wife had your thing, she could maybe send it for you. You could see what happening in Guadeloupe.
Yeah, I've seen some videos of what's going on there. Yes.
But anyway, they cannot stop nothing, and we have to go along and vote. And if you go into that bar in Grand Bay, Zita Bar, that's Vince picture that's my mother.
Mm-hmm.
And we are Porto Labor. I listen to a panel shop that's Baba next to whole day. Oh no, he are blessing Labor Katwavai, Labor Pani Pogo Tegalebuka vote Labor, and that played low like we heard from the telephone of my mother, and they tell me the group just go up the ladder, bike everything, and no well, Labor Katwavai the bird, we put the bird in a cage. The boat close in a cage. If I come voler, tout le monde like I say.
Yes, I.
If I come voler, parce que après pas comprendre qui, là où cette personne m'a quand même la satire post note. Ever mute go avec education is nothing, my boy. Oh, Monsieur fou. Monsieur fou, Sean Douglas. Aga coup de woman child qui dit écrit un livre. Ukali mungu kwa vini support him bag. Ino bukadi mungu muka kriye no wai. Boki Alcendo, America. Bodi Alcendo kapase se him bag kuyo de hoe mute bukwabe. Nobody pa voyo. Muri yo sebe voyo. Muri bukwapa. Uchi yo sebe voyo. Zoka voye him bag. And muka support him bag. Ebe jikleve de ba pula be di him bag. Tous les deux him bag kwaze. Pas sa vole. Pas vos driver qui a se him bag. Bonnie, I'll do say last thing before I go.
Yeah, go ahead.
Labor.
Travail.
Et les beaux qui continuent de travailler. Labor!
Yes, I. Yes, I tell you, we're full of votes. On the local line, dear caller, good evening to you.
Good evening, Simeon.
Hello, good evening.
How are you?
I am good, thank you. God bless.
Right. Dublin is locked in with Honorable Catherine Daniel.
Mm-hmm.
And I would like to say good evening to all my laborites, everyone supporting Labour. I would like to say good evening to them. Mm-hmm. And I would like to wish Vince Henderson success. Mm-hmm. In Jesus' name, he have to win. We don't want no handbag.
Yes, I. Yes, I. All right. All right, I tell you, in Jesus' name, we have to win. By the shoe to put your vote. Yes, I. Let me take this caller before I get into the discussion there. Good evening to you on the local line.
Yes, I see me. And why go?
I good, thank you. God bless.
All right, then. Massacre is locked in.
Yeah, man. Big up.
Going all the way with Vince.
Yes, I. Yes,
man.
I.
So
Yeah,
have a good night.
All right, my brother. Take care there. And have a good evening too. We're going all the way with Hendo. Of course, I want to say a special thank you to all of you calling. Let's take this final call on the overseas line in this segment. And then we'll open the line a little later down. Caller, good evening to you on the overseas line.
Good evening to you, handsome.
Hey, good evening. How are you? I'm good, thanks. What are you eating? I love the Zeladen. Yes, I. Mm-hmm.
And if I have a Creole sauce, you know the French brothers do their Creole sauce good.
Yes,
I.
You'll make me hungry there. Good. The week was good so far. Thanks God for another week, another safe week, and I'm here again tonight to do the program. Thanks God for that. Yes.
Amen to that. You don't know SM is in the house.
Yes.
SM is in the house.
Yeah, man.
Anyhow, Simeon.
Yes, my dear.
You know the story of how it goes between Cain and Abel. You know when God Cain and Abel. Abel didn't give God the gift he didn't want. God said him send Abel to go back to the draining board and come back again. Because God refused like his gift. So you know the people of Gandhi, the Labour Party has devalued the best
give you the best man to run all your affairs for you. So you don't know.
Yeah, man.
On the 25th, come Thursday, God's willing, it's Vince all the way.
Yes, I.
Even the Bible talk about it.
Mhm.
You know, one God, God himself refused.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Anyhow, Simeon, I'm there. You're doing a fantastic job. I'm there listening.
All right, my dear. Keep on listening and hold on to the dial. Yeah, man. All right. Thank you there. All right. I tell you, it's already 8:46. We got to get into our discussion tonight. Of course, we will be joined very early this evening by Senior Counsel Anthony Astefan there, who will continue our discussion tonight from where we left the last time. But again, thank you to all of you who have called in so far. The telephones keep going. You know, if I keep taking your calls, it's going to be all night long. We'll not get into our discussion tonight. But we got, of course, quite a bit. As you know, the Granby by-election is on. And yes, you're hearing all sorts of voices coming out from, you know, God knows, all over the place. All of them have an opinion now and who want to continue trying to attack our candidate. And, you know, tonight, Senior Counsel will go into greater detail on the issue of the Constitution and the law as it will relate to candidates and ambassadors and persons who represent this country, who, of course, are called upon to represent in other areas, like we are seeing now with our our Dr. Henderson, who have been, preparing himself to continue at the service of his country. And so, with the advent of all of the statements that we heard recently, we are now seeing many other persons now within the UWP. UWP didn't send a candidate in Granby. So why are they concerned about what's happening in Granby? They claim they didn't send a candidate, and then suddenly they are so interested in the Labour Party candidate. So you have now NJAM who come out there putting some kind of, 3-page document together, basically. You have the opposition leader who wrote to the Commissioner of Police asking for investigation into this matter. And then you have all of those within the UWP who somewhat want to try to, see if they can prevent people from, going to vote by bringing all sorts of foolishness about this qualification into the discussion. And so tonight we will spend a little more time into that because no doubt for the entire week, this has been one of the items that have somewhat being highly spoken of. Of course, I heard this Darius Liquent guy who was speaking on Q95 again, speaking as if Ambassador Henderson is not qualified to run the seat and wants to give the impression that, he should step aside. And I just find the UWP is taking this one too far. But just before I go further into that, just want to tell you that, you got to wear your mask, people. You got to protect yourself. You got to practice safe hygiene and be aware of the fact that COVID-19 is right around the corner. And it's not far. It's right around the corner. Dominica still have 408 active cases. We have reached a death toll of 35, which to me is just something that I never envisaged, but it's there anyway. And we recorded a number of 53 new cases, yes. And that is as of Friday the 19th report I am reading for you. And so we will get an updated one very soon. But we are doing well so far with the vaccine. 26,669 fully vaccinated, 28,671 first dose. So I encourage you all, as soon as your time is ready, ensure that you take your second dose and get yourself properly immunized against this deadly virus. We need all the protection we can get because this thing is coming to take these lives of our people, and we need to find a way to certainly prevent the spread. One, we have to try to prevent the spread of the virus while at the same time protecting ourselves from this deadly virus. So again, I want to urge our citizens to continue to adhere to the protocols. But back to our discussion. This week I listened again with great interest to all of those who are coming in, who are feeling like they have something to say about the Granby election. And but they all are going on one wicket. One wicket alone they are riding on. And that wicket have to do with the statement made by Lennox Linton. They are trying to give some kind of credit to that statement. They are hoping for some reason that they can help Linton in his fight to save his own leadership of his political organization, to put some kind of, they are trying to give some kind of merit, whatsoever it is, I believe, to the initial statement that a man who actually had done no research whatsoever, but suddenly came out, out of the blue and have something to say about our candidate in the Granby constituency. And so we've heard from Senior Counsel on this already, but indeed tonight he will spend some time with us exploring, deeper into this particular issue of the candidacy of Ambassador Henderson, who we call ambassador because he has served our country as the ambassador to the United Nations, and we continue to call him ambassador. He served our country, as ambassador to the OAS, and he will continue to serve this country, whether in the position of a minister or whether in the position of an ambassador, whenever he is called upon to so do. And so to say that we are referring to him as ambassador, it's a normal thing. Crispin Gregoire was once upon a time the ambassador of the UN. The Labour Party appointed him for 8 years where he served. And every time I listen to the UWP refer to Crispin Gregoire, they call him Ambassador Gregoire. Yes. Is he still the ambassador? No. But they refer to him as Ambassador Gregoire because he held that office for a number of years. And so we refer to, Ambassador Henderson in the very same way. Because after having served in the Granby constituency, he then moved on to, of course, serving in other official capacities, such as ambassador in the position of ambassador, where he represented Dominica very proudly. And so the UWP now cannot seem to be able to handle this fact that our candidate has been an outstanding representative of Dominica. And so they are going digging. Yokafuye tutkalte titukini. What are they searching for? They are hoping for some reason that they could find some kind of material that they could use. And so they wrote to different organizations asking about whether Ambassador Henderson is still registered as serving. So what difference does it make? His name is all over because he has served. He's still there. He can be called upon at any given time. But anyway, they are doing all this hoping that they can give some kind of merit to this so-called letter that was written by Linton to the Commissioner of Police, asking that an investigation take place and that, if they can find a way in which they could bring some form of disqualification. And so you have they bring this Dr. Darius Liquent who is questioning the president and his motive and all sorts of foolishness, all in a quest to attack our candidate, who no doubt they know that is going to be outstanding in the Granby constituency. And so now they want to know about the inconsistencies they claim, surrounding the legitimacy of the nomination of Dr. Henderson, as the DLP candidate for the upcoming general election in Granby. And so they are not stopping. They are doing everything possible, hoping that they can find something that they can bite onto, they can chew onto, and to seek to bring all of those question marks, surrounding our candidate. But that's not going to happen. The UWP basically does not have a leg to stand on. First of all, they did not send a candidate in Granby, they claim. They did not send one. But somehow, they have all, whether locally, whether internationally, they have all shown their support behind the handbag. You see. Tout Kumamotan work UWP Party say handbag. So how are you don't send a candidate? You know, they say he don't have their saw, he have the bird. Well, but yet still, they want to put their money in it. They in Granby talking. They on all their programs. They making ad. You cafe tooth bagay. They're just too ashamed. The UWP too ashamed to put their name behind a candidate because they cannot handle another defeat. And I remember, you know, some years ago, when there was another by-election in Granby, they did not want to send a candidate, you know, and my good partner, they're crazy, had run the seat at the time. And, you know, he learned a lesson by being defeated because, you know, South City is Granby. Now, they want to ask Granby Messier. Imagine that. Granby in power. Granby have been in power for over 20 years now. The people of Granby have been in power. And that's where they have the influence. Now they're getting a great man, a man of stature, an outstanding representative, respected not just locally but internationally, someone who will represent them proudly. They're asking the people, listen to what the UWP is asking Granby to do. Vote against the Labour Party, they're saying. Put in a man, you know, who say he was running behind Manikwa Naguti. Put that man in so that he can be in opposition to represent you. Tell me something. You in power, Granby. Granby is in power. Because Granby have been a major pillar of the Dominican Labour Party being in power for many years. I mean, there was a time when it was 2 seats the DLP had, and Granby was always counted as one of the seats. Not even at that time did the people of Granby decide that they were going to let down the party that they stand for, the party with the policies that they respect. Not even at that time did Granby decide that they were going to go and vote otherwise. In opposition, you know, we're talking about. When Labour was in opposition, Granby continued to stick with the Dominican Labour Party. And so now the UWP wants the Granby people to go into opposition and to say to them they will get better representation in opposition. Now, where in the world does you being in opposition give better representation? I mean, let's look at the people of Marigot. Linton is in opposition. What kind of representation have he given to Marigot as an opposition leader? 2 scholarships come in Marigot. He take both of them. He ain't say, well, let's look at one of the children down in over gutter or back street Marigot or wherever. No. What representation have he given? Not even a major natural disaster would hit the constituency of Marigot. Would Mr. Linton even think of doing anything for the people there? But yet still, they want Granby to go in opposition. Then you look at Fokole. If the Labour Party don't do something in the Roseau North constituency, you have absolutely no representation there, even if they vote for them. As for Salisbury, Hector ain't doing nothing in that constituency. So how on heaven's earth all you want to ask Granby to join you all in that quest and to put to take out a man who is capable of bringing development to the constituency of Granby and to put in a person who will make noise on the radio so they can go on Q95 and make noise like how they're accustomed of making noise? Is that what this UWP political organization is asking for? And then suddenly education is not important anymore. I never know when education was there. I always know they're telling you when you have a good education is an advantage. But to the UWP right now, education, it doesn't matter. Right now they're calling people who are qualified educated fools. So because Linton doesn't know his profession, Messier. A large number, 60 plus years. He sits in a courtroom. When he's asked, what is your profession, Mr. Linton? He doesn't know. He asks the judge, could you explain what you mean? Really? They ask you, what is your profession? And you're asking, as a 60 plus year old man, you're asking for an explanation as to what they mean by what is your profession. Upakonet Sao Cafe, what is it that you're good at doing a large sala? He doesn't know. And so this is what the UWP is now saying, that you don't need education. No, you don't need education. And you don't need a profession. This is what they want to give Dominica, my people. And the UWP has actually come down to nothing right now. Nothing. And so now they are digging to seek to find ways and means to create what you would call, I call it propaganda, but it is also a perception out there that our candidate in Grand Bay, our outstanding candidate in Grand Bay, they want to give the impression that he is not qualified, duly qualified, because he served as an ambassador. So at first they were saying, well, he's getting a salary from the Treasury. That was their first case, They claim he's getting paid from the Treasury. And therefore, by virtue of that, the law said this, the law said that. Boom. They find out from Mr. Christian, who was the former director of audit, that is not the case. That Ambassador Henderson, who have served this country, was not being paid any salary from the Treasury of Dominica. He was never appointed in the manner that they were saying. Boom! Well, they say, well, guess what? It doesn't matter if he was getting a salary. As far as we are concerned, he is ambassador. Or he has not resigned. So, who you have to send his resignation letter to if he's resigning? To Workers' Party? To them? To who? I mean, I just don't get it. I mean, how can you belittle education in a quest to send a man, whether he can read or write, I don't know, because I heard somebody read his long speech for him. I wondered why in his luncheon he could not have read his own speech. So this is what UWP want Dominica to come down to now. Linton, who is a novice, who obviously already disrespect the entire country, who Al Jazeera caught selling the very things that he was accusing everybody of doing, committing crimes against humanity, because that is his favorite word, crimes. So yes, they're committing all his crimes. They don't have no problem with that. And they want to give us people who have absolutely no education at all. So right now we should send everybody that going and serve us now should be people with no education. So where would Dominica end up with that kind of policy position being taken by the UWP? I mean, it's a disrespect altogether to the people who have spent so much time, studying, going into their books, and doing all that is possible to prepare themselves. Ambassador Henderson didn't just get to the level that he is because he went and hunt Manico and Aguti. No. He sat down for hours. He studied. He prepared himself in many ways to make sure that when this opportunity, presents itself, that he will be ready to be able to take on the affairs of this country. And the Labour Party is the only I say, institution in Dominica that have men and women within the DLP who are capable, whenever that call comes, to be able to represent Dominica. Whether disaster strike, whatever the situation that this country will be faced with, the DLP is the only institution, and we refer to it as a family that is ready to be able to deal with that. Let me take a break there so I can bring in my brother there and comrade, Senior Constantine Yastafan, as we will deal further into the laws of the country, because they have some kind of doctors and lawyers and people who are coming there trying to distort this discussion as to what qualifies a person or what disqualifies a person in order to be able to serve or to be nominated as a candidate for elections. I'm going to take a quick break there. Let me bring in Senior Counsel. No doubt, a man who have been for many years, putting all of those things into proper perspective. And tonight, I have no doubt he will do that again. So give me a minute there, my people, as I bring him on the line there as we continue our discussion tonight into the Grand Bay. Yes, I say Grand Bay election, by-election that will be taking place this Thursday, where where all of our Laborites will be going out to vote. All right, we'll be coming right back to you.
Everybody! Jalan, Westin, Jalalan, Westin, Jalan, Westin, Jalalan, Westin, Jalan, Westin, Jalalan. We shall not be moved. We shall not be moved. Just like the trees that planted by the waters, Labour Party shall not be moved. We shall not be moved. We shall not be moved. Just like the trees that planted by the waters, Labour Party shall not be moved. They could come with propaganda, all their lies and all their slander, try to mislead the people with their hate and all their evil. We shall not be moved. We shall not be moved. Just like the trees that planted by the waters, Labour Party shall not be moved. The best thing that happened to this country is Garrett and the Labour Party. We wanna bring to bankruptcy.
Yes, welcome back to you wherever you are listening across Dominica and throughout the world. Of course, on the line with me is Senior Counsel Anthony Astephen. Good evening to you, Senior Counsel.
Good evening, comrade.
Hey, good evening. Hey, mola, c'est moi qui parle créole.
Well, sometimes I start fast and I end quick.
Yeah, I know it go.
When it comes to patois and so on.
Yes. But Senior Counsel, thank you again for joining us here tonight. Of course, as we continue, our discussion there on the Grand Bay constituency and our candidate for the Grand Bay constituency, ambassador, of course, who have served as ambassador for this country, Dr. Vince Henderson. Senior Counsel, over the course of the week, I have been following the discussion on this matter, and there have been different voices coming from the opposition. I saw NJAM putting out a 3-page document, speaking about the nomination of Ambassador Henderson. I also saw several news items on Q95 where you have some Dr. Liquent, Darius Liquent, and others who are now claiming that Ambassador Henderson is still ambassador, and by virtue of that, whether he is getting a salary or not getting a salary, this of course means that as long as his name is done as ambassador, he is disqualified. I also, Senior Counsel, heard saw a letter that has been circulating on social media, which Loftus Jura and others have been searching to see whether they can find answers in relation to that, and are all, of course, trying to make that case that Ambassador Henderson is not qualified. Senior Counsel, your take on the laws and so on.
Well, before I take on the law, if you have your head buried in the sand, you're not going to see it.
Mm-hmm.
And these fellows have, if your political leader is Leonard Clinton, there's a culture of ignorance and misinformation and dishonesty. These fellows are ignorant or deliberately dishonest or both.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
All right, because I've seen this paper by National Joint Action Movement. I've seen this, I've seen that. You will recall the first time that I discussed this matter with you. My professional opinion, which I expressed on the radio, is that even if Vince was in fact the substantive holder of the position as ambassador in the OAS, on nomination day, that is not a disqualifying factor. It would not be. And I said in any event, if the issue is the receipt of monies from an office of emolument, the documentation that we have seen from the public service, from the Permanent Secretary of Foreign Affairs to the Director of Audit since August 15, 2019, before this story came out,
Yes.
that bills had not been paid. Since then, a good 2 years have passed.
Yes.
But I want to draw something to your listeners' attention. It might take a little time.
Go right ahead, Essie. Go right ahead. Go right ahead.
But I think I need to open the faculty of Carrier FM's faculty of law, and let's have a lecture on law tonight.
Go right ahead. Go right ahead.
And I'm going to start with NJAM.
Yes.
The election laws of the Commonwealth of Dominica clearly say that it is an offense punishable by a fine and imprisonment. Let me go slowly because we have listeners that are elderly and so on.
Yes, take your time.
For a candidate to falsely sign a statutory declaration stating that the person had not received emoluments from the state, all citizens and residents are required to obey this law. To falsely sign a statutory declaration stating that such person has not received emoluments from the state. Clarence Christian said that he had information from the Smart Stream to show the last payment made that Vince Henderson would have received from the state as ambassador.
Yes.
Under the contract that had expired in January 2019. So these clowns, these idiots, these nincompoops, these fools, these idiots don't seem to understand what it is that they're saying. What the declaration, what the House of Assembly Elections Act nomination form says, among many other things, he does not hold or is not acting in any office of emolument under the state. What is the meaning of an office of emolument? Where are we going to find the meaning of office of emolument? Ladies and gentlemen, those of you in the class, pay attention, otherwise I'll put you in detention. Go to the Public Service Act number 37 of 1991. Page 2002, the definition of office. Office means any office of emolument. The language sounds familiar, right?
Yes, yes.
From the nomination card. In the public service specified in the first schedule. Public service is in capital P, capital S, which was the word public service with the capital letters that the Court of Appeal at Saville versus Williams discussed. Now, before I go to the first schedule, because I've printed it, I just want to read it again.
Go right ahead.
Office means any office of emolument in the public capital P, service capital S specified in the first schedule. Section 4(1) of that act says there shall be hereby establish a public service, capital P, capital S, for the Dominica consisting of the following persons who are public officers. 4(3) says any public officer who immediately before the coming into force of this act holds or is acting in a public office under the Civil Service Act 1973, and that office is provided for in the first schedule, that public officer shall continue to hold or act in the like office in the public service. So you follow, there's a transition period that if you hold a particular office or you're acting in it, before the 1991 Public Service Act came into effect, you shall be deemed to be part of the public service, capital P, capital S. And it says, any person who immediately before the coming of the Act holds public office under the Civil Service Act and whose office is not provided for under schedule shall be deemed upon coming into force to hold the office in the public service capital be appearing in the first schedule that has been designated to replace its former schedule. So, to be a member of the public service of Dominica after 1991, your office has to be listed in the first schedule. That is the offices of emoluments. Now, ambassadors AM, right?
Yes, yes.
So I didn't have to read the whole. I didn't have to print the whole list. But I read up to where M should be: accountant general, accounts clerk, assistant, administrative assistant, administrative cadet, administrative officer, adult education aide, adult education officer, agricultural assistant, agricultural instructor, agricultural officer, air traffic controller, airport management, architect. So we pass M. What did you notice, Simeon? The office of ambassador is not mentioned as part of the first schedule to the 1991 Act. So Parliament decided in 1991, when that 1991 Act was passed, that the office of ambassador or the post or the or the position of ambassador or the status of ambassador was not an office of emolument in the state of Dominica, because it was not an office of emolument in the public service specified in the first schedule. That's the end of the case. I want to repeat that. The nomination form does not say that anybody that party decide that such person has not received emoluments from the state. That's not what the law says. That's not what the Nomination Act said. The Nomination Act said that he does not hold or is acting in any office of emolument under the state. Vince says, no, I'm not holding, or I'm certifying that I don't hold, or I was not acting in this office, in any office of emolument. The Public Service Act describes an office, means any office of emolument in the public service specified in the first schedule. Let me shout it. Office means any office of emolument in the public service specified in the first schedule. Mary, the first schedule.
Can you speak to that first schedule a little bit more, Senior Counsel?
The first schedule is 4 pages long, 5 pages long. I couldn't print all of it. I didn't see the need for it, because ambassador would have been on the first page. Accountant, accountant general, accounts clerk, administrative assistant, administrative cadet, administrative officer, adult education aide, adult education officer, agricultural assistant, agricultural instructor, agricultural officer, air traffic controller, airport matter, architect, architectural technician, assistant accountant, assistant adult education act, airport, and so on.
Now, these positions are positions that are appointed by the Public Service Commission?
By the Public Service Commission.
Commission, right.
Well, we'll get to that in a minute. But you see, what those sort of organs, these dishonest, decrepit, infected people, they said that such a person has been receiving emoluments from the state.
Yes.
That's not the disqualifying factor. For 2 reasons. The nomination says does not hold or is acting in any office of emolument under the state. Right? The Public Service Act says means any office of emolument in the public service specified in the first schedule. So the disqualifying factor, or to be part of the public service, you have to be receiving money from an office of emolument specified in the first schedule. Comrade,
yes.
Ambassador Pala.
Right, so it doesn't fall within
not there.
Right.
Can I move on to the next? Am I clear on that?
You've pretty much, yes.
That these fellows misrepresented what the nomination form said at clause 5. He does not hold or is acting in any office of emolument under the state. The only offices of emolument that are defined and established under the Public Service Act. Office means any office of emolument in the public service specified in the first schedule. And Ambassador Pala.
Right. So in other words, If Ambassador was falling in that first schedule, then there would be something to talk about.
If Ambassador was an Office of Emolument in the Public Service, capital P, capital S,
yes,
you would have seen the word Ambassador on the first page of Schedule 1, which is at page 218 of the Public Service Act, number 27 of 1991.
Excellent.
That clear? Comrade, you want to say that in patois for me so people understand?
I get that loud and clear, yes. But I'll give you the patois version in a little later on.
Okay, good. The Constitution of Dominica says, at paragraph 32, subparagraph F, if it is so provided by Parliament and subject to such exemptions and limitations, if any, as Parliament may prescribe, a person shall not be qualified to be elected or appointed if he holds or is acting in any office or appointment, whether specified individually by reference to a class or cup or appointment, he belongs to any of the armed forces of Dominica. He belongs to the police force and so on. So it says, if Parliament so provides, that means if Parliament says you are to be disqualified, then you will be disqualified. And you will be disqualified subject to such exemptions and limitations, if any, as Parliament may provide. So what Section 32.5 is doing is to give the Parliament the authority to prescribe which public officers will be disqualified from running for an election. So pursuant to Section 32.5, the Parliament passed the House of Assembly Disqualification Act. I'll tell you what. In 1st March 1967, that was the date of the Associated Statehood Constitution.
That's 1967, you said?
1967.
Yeah.
It says, pursuant to Section 32.5 of the Constitution, no person shall be qualified to be elected as a member of the House of Assembly or to be appointed or elected as a senator if A, he holds or is acting in any office or appointment in the legal or judicial services, the civil services, the teaching service, fire service, in any branch of the public service in Dominica. Right? All of these are capital letters, capital C, capital S for civil servants, for teaching service, capital T, capital S, fire service, capital F and S, and branch public service is in capital. No mention of ambassador. No mention of receiving emoluments from the state in its naked term. No suggestion that a contract of employment or an appointment under contract was to be a disqualifying factor. So we go then to Charles Savre versus John Williams. Decision of the Court of Appeal. They read the first page of the judgment, they read Section 5 of the House of Assembly Disqualification Act, first enacted in 1961. No person shall be qualified to be elected as a member of the House, to be appointed as a senator if he holds or acts in any office in the legal, judicial services, etc., 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 any branch of the public service. Now, I don't think I need to go through that, but so I'll fast forward. I'll fast forward to page 80, letter D, where they're referring to Section 32 of the Constitution, which I read. And they go on at page 81, and they say, counsel for the respondent, who was Alec Lawrence and myself, sought to introduce into Section 5 the disqualification and grounds of disqualification which are not contemplated by the 67 or 78 Constitution, nor by the Disqualification Act itself. counsel evidently persuaded the judge and sought to persuade this court that the person is disqualified to be elected as a member of the House of Assembly if he's an employee or servant of the government. Servant or agent of the government. Or department of the government, counsel contended that the NDC is an agent or department of the government, that since the general manager of NDC is a servant, agent of the NDC, he's also a servant of the Crown. So Vincent Flossack said, I wonder how many citizens would be eligible for election to the House of Assembly if disqualification from election were based on employment by or agency of the government or the possibility of a conflict of interest. Fortunately, neither the 67 Constitution or the 78 Constitution nor the Disqualification Act prescribes any such indeterminate ground of disqualification. The ground specified in Section 25 subsection 5 of the 67 and Section 32(5)(a) of the 1970 Constitution is the holding of such offices or appointments as Parliament may prescribe. Mm-hmm. In prescribing these offices or appointments, Parliament will no doubt consider the nature of the holder's employment or agency, if any, and so forth. But these considerations are not ipso facto constitutional or statutory grounds for disqualification. So he goes on and spent a considerable amount of time at page 82, letter B, talking about the meaning of the public service. Mm-hmm. Okay? Mm-hmm. The meaning of the public service. And he said, in my judgment, he concluded at paragraph 8, page 83, the constitutional background on which the Disqualification Act was enacted indicates that the legislative intention was that the phrase public service appeared in Section 5(1)(a) of the Disqualification Act should bear its constitutional meaning, and that the constitutional meaning is circumscribed by Part 6 of the 1967 and 1968 Constitution. And 3, that by virtue of the constitutional meaning so circumscribed, a person cannot be said to be holding or acting in an office or appointment in the branch of the public service of Dominica, unless he was appointed to that office and is removable therefrom by or in accordance with the advice of the appropriate constitutional commission, namely the Public Service Commission or the Judicial and Legal Services Commission, as the case may be. So unless you are appointed to one of the posts of the offices of emolument specified in the first schedule, mm-hmm. or in any office in the Public Service Commission, in the public service, you're not disqualified, because Parliament only intended to disqualify people who were in the public service, capital P, capital S, the permanent and established public service, which is set out in the sections of the 1991 Public Service Act, which defines the public service to mean offices of emoluments that are set out in Schedule 1 of the Public Service Act of 1991, mm-hmm. Act 37 of 1991. Mm-hmm. Office means any office of emolument in the public service. Public service means the service in a civil capacity of the government established under Section 4. Section 4 requires you to be, your position and office to be listed in the first schedule for you to be able to be appointed to any public office in the public service or in the public service. Sorry. I mean, Simeon, I don't know what this. I know what this cry is about.
But see, I mean, what you have presented there is clear as to the laws and how, and people who are qualified and who would be disqualified. But it seems to me that you had the UWP also had what they call a law scholar on Q95. This Darius Liquid guy,
Who's Mr.
Some law scholar they call him. I'm really just a person I've seen. I don't know him. But
So
they
if
seem
he's
to
a-
rely
if
on
he's a-
him for
if he-
advice. Yes.
But if he's a law scholar, comrade, you're supposed to refer to me as a law emperor.
Yeah, it did. No
You're
doubt.
supposed to refer to me as the law emperor.
No doubt. He doesn't fall close to you, but he spoke about
Comrade,
yeah.
if it's one thing, all the prime ministers, dead or alive, to tell you who I represented, I will never tell them what I think the law is within, or to shave it, to color it, or to sweeten it politically. It's either going to be A, B, or C, or it is going to be nothing at all. So these fellas who are pandering to see who can get closest to Lennox Linton's boxers or whatever it is, and so on, but stay at short pants, is home. That's a matter for them. I have a track record that very few council in the OECS have. And for somebody to come out of the blue with their blue hat on or whatever hat they have on and be referred to as a legal scholar, I would need to see the track record. I have a track record. I have done hundreds of cases. If you will recall, so that your listeners understand, I made my name with not just representing fellas in Granby and Portsmouth and Roseau Central and so on. I made my name, comrade, with the groundbreaking judgments in the mapping cable and wireless matter where they declared the monopoly to have infringed the Freedom of Information Act. And all of this liberalized telecoms that people are experiencing, all of these fellas should be given with 10% of their profits every year. Geoffrey Harris, Jenna Armour, Mr. Ron Abraham, and I are responsible for that. Likewise with the irrigation, numerous other cases that I've done. It's 20-something petitions I've had thrown out, comrade. So when I come to the people of this country to tell them what the law is, comrade, it is the law.
I have no doubt.
I know sometimes the
Yes.
last case I lost to the CCJ there that Carol Chilling for the court, but credit goes to her.
Yes.
I respect the decision of the court, but I think it is wrong. I don't think it is the correct judgment. But that's not a criticism of the court because I'm entitled to say whether I agree with the court or not, but I respect the judgment.
Yes, indeed.
You're not going to hear me going on the radio and call it to boycott this and boycott that and so on. But that's the law.
But listen,
it would be absurd
Yes.
for an ambassador who's appointed by the Prime Minister of the Cabinet with no security of tenure. Hire him today, fire him tomorrow. Needs a contract to be able to get the payment and scope of work and so on.
Let me just...
There's no permanence, there's no establishment, there's no pension, there's no right to a hearing, there's no right to a trade union. I mean, it's just absurd. Go ahead.
Yes, I wanted to. This guy said something about. He claimed that it is in this. He labels the case as being absurd. He said that as an ambassador, you are a constitutionally seen as an extension of the president of Dominica overseas. He claimed that and are bound to the legal conduct of one who holds that position. He claimed. That's the law scholar there, whoever is the
But you see,
liquid
that
guy.
is forensically an asinine statement for him to make, because the disqualification is not based on anything to do with the president, but to do with whether you hold an office of emolument in the public service specified in Schedule 1 of the Act. That is the sort of ignorance. A donkey, a jackass has no place in a horse race period. And I don't mean that with any disrespect.
I understand.
If you go to a horse race, you're not going to see no donkey there. If you go to donkey derby, you're going to see donkey there.
Right.
The suggestion that a diplomatic passport,
An ambassador.
ambassador, is a disqualifying factor because of some allegiance
Yeah.
to the president, or because the passport gives you some protection because of the president, leads to a disqualifying factor under disqualification law. It's asinine, it's stupid, it's dumb, it's dishonest, it's false.
I should tell you also, SC, that he claims that the president is not qualified to run for elections in Dominica while currently in office. The same is applied to all ambassadors. When he spoke on Q95. I mean,
which president?
He's talking about the president of the country because he's claiming that the ambassadors serve at the mercy of the president.
Man, let me tell you something. Mr. is a fundamentally flawed idiot. He doesn't understand the law. And you see, that's the problem. That is the cultural problem we have in this country. Sheridan Gregoire and the media who and others on Q95 that have their heads stuck up their backside because they're not interested in the facts will allow somebody like that to come on the radio and talk that garbage without any pushback. There are lawyers representing the United Workers' Party that will be shocked to their core to hear that garbage coming from a lawyer. The Constitution says that it is for Parliament to prescribe the offices that would lead to disqualification. The Parliament said what it was under Section 5 of the Disqualification Act. The Court of Appeal says that you simply because you have a contract or you're the agent of a government, which has barely through the ambassador, it's not a ground for disqualification unless you have been appointed by the Public Service Commission to one of the offices in the public service. And the Public Service Act says that an office of the emolument in the public service specified in the full schedule, Section 4 and Section 5 say who constitutes the public or civil service of the state of Commonwealth of Dominica, and it is the first schedule. It may have been amended to include others, but not ambassador. So let me explain to you what an ambassador is now. Ambassador is a man that the government would appoint, say me, as ambassador, to go to some international conference or to go to a meeting to educate the people of this country about, say, law reform or whatever it is. I come back home. PM says to me, thank you, see you later. Or in the case of Vince, appointed by the cabinet for a fixed period of time. Because generally, you see, comrade, what these people don't understand. When ignorance is your best friend and the person you sleep with in your bed is called ignorant, you don't know what it is that you're saying. Once you're appointed to the pensionable and permanent office of the Commonwealth of Dominica, subject to disciplinary action, termination, resignation, or retirement, you are entitled as a matter of law to remain in that position until that date of your retirement, your resignation, your termination, or the age of retirement. An ambassador has a contract for a year, maybe 6 months. Vince had an extension of his contract from August 2018 that ended in January 2019. When that contract ends, that's it. When the contract ends, that's it. So all of this is just as you want to cry, to make a point, to probably fundraise, to give an explanation for why it is that they don't have a candidate other than handbag and so on. And it is an absolute pathetic shame. Now, let me deal with a couple points there.
Go right ahead.
The Loftus Jura said he sent an email. He get a response. A valid reason why Vince Henderson's name is still there is because he has not yet been replaced by a substantive holder of the post. That is why the ambassador, and the minister, and the permanent secretary would have gone to the last meeting, which they alleged Vince attended, but he did not. I was told today that the prime minister of Bahamas is still listed in some official documentation and quarters as minister, which is the one who just lost. There are some law firms that have a and BC Associates and so on. AA or B is dead, but the name is still at the building. What does that mean? You can go and have an appointment with them?
No.
I mean, we must try not to reduce the level of, or to increase the level of our ignorance by making stupid statements. There is a valid reason why Vince's name is still there. He has not yet been, maybe I should apply for the job. He has not been, he may not have been the substantive holder of the post since his resignation or expiration of his contract has not yet been appointed.
Yes.
So the minister and the peers cannot act at any time. Go there and represent the government as the acting ambassador, whatever, until the substantive holder is appointed. I don't understand what the big issue is.
But the
and as I said, no, but let me just make the point. I said, that even if he was ambassador full-fledged, receiving money, language, he says it.
L'argent.
L'argent, right? He would still not be disqualified because he's not appointed to the public service by the Public Service Commission. An ambassador is not. And he is not the ambassador, the office of ambassador is not listed as a post or office of emolument in Schedule 1 of the Public Service Act 27 of 1991.
Which is what the UWP political leader and them in the Workers' Party have been referring to.
What have they been referring to?
That they have been using that section of the act, reading it and claiming that it disqualifies
Which section of the act, Simeon? Be a little specific.
Well, they were just using the part about emolument. Any person who is...
No, they were using it in the... You see, this is where ignorance is bliss. They were using the nomination paper.
Yes,
right?
yes,
They were using the nomination paper. And the nomination paper says he does not hold or is not acting in any office of emolument under the state.
Yeah.
The only offices of emolument in the public service in the state are those listed in Schedule 1 of the Constitution, as provided for by Section 4 and Section 5 of the Public Service Act. Right? And this is why I mentioned the Public Service Act to you.
Yes.
Office means any office of emolument in the public service, capital P capital, as specified in the first schedule.
Which does not include ambassadors.
Does not include ambassador. Public service means the service in the civil capacity of the government of Commonwealth. An ambassador does not serve in the civil capacity of the government at all. And established under Section 4, you have to be able to serve in a civil capacity in behalf of the government under Section 4. You have to be in a post opposition listed by Schedule 1 of the Act. Simeon, the Public Service Act is saying who are the members holding offices of emolument in the public service. You find this, the offices and their positions in Schedule 1. Ambassador Pala, how you say that in Patois for me?
Ambassador Pala didn't say, you Pala, no, he's not the ambassador, Pierce Cotela. Pierce Cotela.
Thank you very much. But this is what they do. They cherry pick this, they create that, they fabricate this, and they think they get in an intellectual erection thinking that they have a point, and they're way off track.
Yes.
It's like a farmer turning up with his donkey to realize that Windsor Park is a horse race taking place. He missed Donkey Derby by 24 hours. You know?
Yes.
I mean, it is shocking dishonesty, and I hope, Simeon, that I took my time and explained it because it's important. If any issue arises, please, I'm going to be doing some work there right now because I have some things working on.
No problem.
Please call. I'll be listening.
No problem,
Please call me back.
No problem.
Because it's important. What I'm going to do too, Simeon, I'm going to send to the group chat a copy of the Public Service Act that I'm relying on. Right?
Right.
For you all to see what it says
as
to the meaning of the office, the meaning of an office. You have it now. Take
Very
your
well.
comment.
Thank you, man. Thank you there. Yes, indeed there. Wow. You know, I mean, Senior Counsel couldn't have put it much better for us people. You know, I mean, you know, it's obvious that the UWP, I mean, these people have lost their way. You know, they don't have proper advisors. Even their lawyers, some of the lawyers who speak on their behalf, getting it wrong. How could you get it so wrong, Monsieur? I'm going to take a break. When I come back there, I'll certainly open up the lines and continue with your calls.
What a brilliant leader. We shall not be moved. We shall not be moved. Just like the trees that planted by the waters, Labour Party shall not be moved. We shall not be moved. We shall not be just like the trees that planted by the waters. Labour Party shall not be moved. They could come with propaganda, all the lies and the slander, try to mislead my people with their hate and evil. We shall not be moved. We shall not be moved. Just like the trees that planted by the waters, Labour Party shall not be moved. That's it. Jalala, no question, jalala, no question, jalala, no question, jalala. Everybody, put up something red, where we come and no head, jalala, no. All of them forget the carry people. Labour stepping, they want to cause trouble. For the Kalinagos had no respect, exploiting them on the water project. Superior Scotland used to ball to Labour to build their seawall. Giro, they would have to back it. Water tank on Labour fix it. Whether you teach a leader, elder, must give credit to Labour. You better believe it. We shall not be moved. We shall not be moved. Just like the trees that planted by the waters, Labour Party shall not be moved. We shall not be moved. We shall not be moved. Just like the trees that's planted by the water, Labour Party shall not be moved. Look out for we fighter hotel, highway to Posse as well, seaport reconstruction, rosary modification. We shall not be moved. We shall not be moved. Just like the trees that planted by the water, Labour Party shall not be moved. Thanks up.
Yes, I Nujala Nuke West. Just imagine that the UWP. I mean, I just can't. I mean, Senior Counsel explained that law, you know, so simple. Schedule 1, Messier. Refer to it. On the overseas line, there the calls are going. Let's take the call. Good evening to you. Caller, welcome.
Good evening, comrade, brother. Simeon Albert, how are you this evening?
Hey, man, I'm good, thank you. And you? Good evening, welcome, bro.
Well, good evening to you and good evening to all Dominicans for the broad government of Dominica and the leadership of the Honorable Roosevelt Skerrit. Good evening to you. I want to just commend you again. I know you work hard all week and you take time to come out and inform the people. I want to personally thank you for what you're doing. And obviously, Senior Counsel, we don't have much. I'm not a constitutional lawyer, but I can listen to Senior Counsel and his advice and the way he explained what is happening in terms of the law and how it works.
Yes.
And we must thank Senior Counsel for his explanation and his contribution towards not only the hand or next level, but also to Dominica on a whole and Dominica.
Yes.
I know you're up in the course. Let me make my contribution real quick so I can make way for others.
Go right there.
As far as the Gramby constituency is concerned, the candidacy of our dear former ambassador Dr. Henderson, Simeon, it's people. We don't like you for many reasons. And we know in terms of the UWP, they not Vince Henderson, as we know him, Hendo, is not, they just don't like anything that have to do with the Labour Party and the growth and development of Dominica, Simeon. That must be clear. That is what they are about. They're not there to do that. So they will look for all kind of different areas and avenues to see how they can stunt and put barrier to growth. You're not selling somebody up. The UWP party, they send handbag. They say they didn't sell handbag up, but we all know that they have supported handbag. Handbag is their candidate. And as I said the last time, I'm not trying to bash handbag, but he's not the candidate. He's not a candidate that can represent a constituency based on his own admission. The guy said he left school because he didn't like school. He went to run after Aguti and Manikou and all other Abolo that he could find, and then he went to drive bus. He drove, and now he's a bus driver. And nothing wrong in driving bus, but he has said, in other words, he's telling us that he is not qualified or not fit to be a pirate for any constituency at all. And the UWP insists on giving the support because they are against the government, they are against the Prime Minister, they are against Ambassador Henderson, they are against everybody that is trying to bring, that is working on behalf of the people and are interested in the people of Dominica. UWP is not interested in Dominica, nor its people. Comrade, when you look at Handbag and you look at Leonard Clinton, you can compare them. Leonard Clinton was expelled from school because of his behavior. Handbag left school because he didn't like school. Leonard Clinton hasn't contributed nothing to the country that embrace everything negative and everybody negative, whether it is Rijok, whether it is Shosky, or whoever that is not fitting or has been on the international scene as a terrorist or as a criminal. That is the persons that Linton embraced over the years. So we know that he hasn't been contributing anything. When you look at after hurricanes and Erica and the storm, he has not. So we are not surprised that the UWP is supporting Handbag, because this is the kind of mindset. This is the MO. That's what they do, Simeon. That's how they have planned and crafted their way of doing things.
Yes.
But Simeon, we know also Handbag candidacy for the UWP and the UWP trying to write to the police and to take that matter to court is a way again, Simeon, of raising money on the backs of the people that they claim are poor people. They claim Dominicans are poor and Dominica is this and Dominica is that. But every opportunity that the UWP gets to raise funds on the backs of Dominicans, they do that. So now, Simeon, they are going to tell their supporters that they need money.
Yes.
Because they have to fight Vince's candidacy in Grand Bay. So their people not just following blindly will give them money, claiming to pay lawyers to file an injunction or file a court proceeding against Dr. Henderson, and then they will take that money to buy their dogs and their treadmills and to travel to Guadeloupe and the United States and around the world and enjoy the perks, the nice hotels and car rentals and taxis and restaurants that they've been doing. This is the setup, Simeon. Don't ever mistake it. We have seen it in the past, and we are seeing it right now.
Yes.
It's an effort to raise money. Leonard knows. It's either he knows or he's straight ignorant, because senior counsel have explained that clearly that doesn't fall within the realm. Ambassadorship doesn't fall within the realm of employment by the PF by the
Public service
by the PFC. It does not. He should know that. But no, he is trying to get his people. He's trying to throw red meat out there so his people can come to support him, and by extension, once they accept it, they are going to raise money on the backs of these people. Simeon, you have said over and over again, and we know it, that this man is not, he doesn't care about people. Lennox doesn't care. We see what happened in Maho, the young boy. We see what happened with the guy on his roof, fixing his roof. We see what happened in Roseau in 2017.
Yes.
In February of 2017. They don't care about people. Their mantra is, scare it, the Prime Minister is scare it, need to go, and they're not targeting only the Prime Minister. Because you can see now, another candidate is going up for the Granby constituency, and they're targeted to anything that is named Labour, anything that is named Progress, anything that is named Development, Simeon. These folks, these UW people are not interested in it.
Yes.
We would have seen, Simeon, on Friday or yesterday, when the Prime Minister laid out the amount of things that are going on while Lennox Clinton is there writing My Boy Kitchen, spreading lies and propaganda, Simeon. Our Prime Minister is busy negotiating with China for visa-free entry, which would expand Dominican's horizon in terms of business. People want the business with the largest economy in the world. While Lennox Clinton is writing My Boy Kitchen and putting lies and dishonesty on paper, the Prime Minister is negotiating with Michigan State Hospital to get some kind of agreement to work with Dominica China Friendship Hospital. Simeon, this is what it's all about. It's night and day, Simeon.
Yes.
This is two people, two leaders. One who is interested in the development and growth of Dominica, and one who do not care and who does care about going internationally and blasting and trying to put a black eye on the country. Simeon, this is the reality of our situation. So I'm not surprised when they support Hambad and try to denigrate Dr. Henderson. I am not surprised that when they're trying to find a way and write to every institution in the world, whether it's the IMF, the CIA, the CBI, whatever they can get to write on or against Simeon, because they are not happy for growth in our country. So, Simeon, I want to tell the general public in closing that Dr. Henderson is the right person for the job. Dr. Henderson has proven himself over and over again. He has proven himself on the local market. He has proven himself in the originally, and he has proven himself internationally. He has worked extensively on behalf of Dominica. He has excelled in education, and this is somebody that our young people can look up to as an example, not one that have fought in school and used all kind of violence and been kicked out, not one that have run after Manikou, abandoned school and went to run after Manikou, Abolo, and other creatures in the forest, but one that have stood up for Dominica in every way, shape, and form. And I want to continue to endorse this man because I know what Dr. Henderson is all about, and I know what he's going to bring to the table that can not only benefit Gambians, but it's also going to benefit the entire country and the region. So, Simeon, continue the good work. I want to thank you again for it. I want to thank Senior Council for coming on and making those laws so plain and clear. The Constitution letting us know what is in, what is out, and what is legal and what is not legal. Not those so-called Bush lawyers that are taking their stand with the UWP on Q95 and misrepresenting and misleading the people of Dominica. Let's continue to preach truth, because truth is what we got. The UWP is a dishonest, cancerous, mind-bending, evil organization that is hell-bent on trying to cripple Dominica. But with Dr. Roosevelt Skerrit at the helm of Dominica, we know is forward ever and backward never. Thank you, my dear friend.
Thank you.
Have a good night, and I'll be listening.
Thank you, my brother. Thank you there for your contribution there. On the local line, caller, good evening to you.
Good night, sir.
Good night to you, sir. Good evening, sir. Mola, Monsieur Jacques, Sakoto.
Ouais, mon la qualité.
C'est bon, Chebe Wed.
Ouais, jodi avant 79 years, hein?
79 years, congratulations, and a happy birthday, jodi là.
Ouais.
Birthday ben you.
Mon ka Chebe fort.
Continue Chebe fort, monsieur.
C'est comme ça, et mon ka dit bonsoir pour arrêt moi. Dr. Alice King.
Oui.
Et mon ka dit bonsoir pour maman, Sandra King. Et mon ka Chebe.
Oui.
Et mon ka dit bonsoir pour madame Vayo Fontaine.
Combien d'années au mariage, Chema?
40 years.
40, that's a birthday ben ou plus encore.
40 years depuis mon mariage.
Birthday ben ou, bien ben ou là.
Et mon 79 years aujourd'hui.
Chebe Wed. Palaji.
Mon ka dit bonsoir, mon la regardé.
Oui.
Et ça vaut de faire mon pari.
Oui.
Pendant ce moment, les vacations.
Oui. Enjoy.
Je démarre au whisky, c'est mon cas cool.
Oui. Passez bien.
Yeah.
Merci autant.
Et il y a l'autre sorti la garder c'est na caillou.
Oui.
C'est bien fort. Mon son homme qui marche en bâton, l'arrivé à la falaise 15 km. Même si mon gars dit garde, c'est na falaise là, qui te bat misère moi.
M'ont écouté ça. Bon avis.
Assez mon doigt.
Merci pour avis.
Yeah.
Merci. All right.
Yeah, good night. Pour Premier ministre moi.
Oui, d'accord.
Et bien, il y a mon Noël moi à moi, bon Dieu, bon qui est fini. Il va faire Noël moi. Pareil, mon gars fait Noël moi.
Merci bon Dieu pour ça.
Right.
Oui.
So là, il finit, mon qui parle contre lui.
All right, d'accord. D'accord.
Nice.
All right, bonsoir.
All right.
All right. Pour là, M. Jacques, souhaiter passer jour à ou bien. Yes, and so, you know, as we speak, but let's just take this call. The telephones are going. Caller, good evening to you on the local line.
Good evening, Governor.
Good evening to you, my brother.
What's happening, sir?
I'm good, thank you. God bless you, know.
Boy, God bless you too, and I wish you full speed on your family.
Thank you.
I wish you long life.
Yes.
And Simeon, I'll advise you, prepare for bigger things to come. Prepare yourself. Serve the country in a bigger capacity, you know? I believe you have the ability to do that.
Yes, I.
But on the thing of Granby, Simeon,
yes,
we as a people, man, God give you a conscience, Simeon, and you have to exercise your conscience.
No doubt.
And anytime you do exercise in your conscience, Simeon, means that you don't know nothing about God. And as a people, we have to love each other. As a people, we must think straight. I mean, it's very embarrassing, you know, and I think I sympathize with Handbag as a black brother. That, Simeon, when you talk about abuse, this is what you talk about when somebody abusing somebody. And I believe the youthful people and the people that endorse Handbag to do what he's doing there, these people will pay a high price. And these people is abusing Handbag to the highest degree. And I believe to myself, some form of brainwash is being taken place with Handbag. Because Simeon, as a person, Simeon, if you're a woodwork person,
yes,
you're very good at it. We should encourage you and sponsor you and finance you to do better.
Yes.
And to go on the next level. That's your area.
Indeed.
You understand?
Yes.
And we should want to see you do good.
Right.
But if you're not a politician, my brother, hey, you cannot step in big people business and figure where you're going to succeed and you're going to do the country well. To me, you're letting Handbag commit treason against Granby people, treason against the state by saying Handbag to represent the country because he can't. And if Handbag know better, he know he can't. People that go to school shouldn't be pushing him in that direction at all. You understand? And to me, as though Handbag is from Granby, and everybody know him, but to me, as he disrespect Granby and disrespect Granby people by doing what he's doing there against all odds. You understand? You shouldn't do that. So I say to people that go to school, your first degree, master's degree, all you're pushing a handbag to go up in parliament. I mean, let's be real. If a man can't see his name marked on a handbag in big capital letters, how you as a smart person pushing that person to go in parliament to represent anybody? Huh?
That's a very good question you're asking.
The reality is that it is not possible. You understand? And if he talks more patois, I like patois. But at the same time, he cannot expedite on the behalf of his people, on the behalf of the country. Let me ask you. You know, if we have a thing, a conference on climate change, to your conscience, if you endorse handbag, would you send handbag for a climate change conference?
You would have to ask that question to those that endorsing him.
Huh? No, that is serious. That is serious thing. You know?
Yes.
To me, as though it's seriously hurting me.
Yes.
That smart people would want to endorse handbag and to have handbag to be the pal rep of Dominica. No, man, and pal rep of Granby. That's madness.
And not only smart people, you know, but they have got to the point where in the endorsement of this guy that they are now calling people who are smart, educated, qualified, educated fools. That's what they have resorted to.
Yes. As far as I'm concerned, these guys, they go down solo in the gutter that they can be called fools. Look at that. I mean, Afimate takes his time on math program, I listening, and the man taking his time and giving several points why he endorsed Handbagwe. Afimate,
yeah, I listen to him.
You see him, Afi gone Louis.
Yeah, Afi reached the end of the rope there. Yeah.
He become I mean, it's sorry to say it, but he become a lunatic as far as I'm concerned. I can watch him in his face and tell him, Martin, man, you've gone mad, man. You know what I mean? To endorse handbag. But on the Granby, and you talk about Granby people as special people, and you put in a man that can read and write to rule and to represent their people. I mean, I have nothing against handbag, my brother. I don't hate handbag. But to put handbag to represent Granby people is a shocking shame. And Granby people should look for handbag, man, and stop handbag in that foolishness that you're doing there. And tell UWP, man, we disown all you and you don't want nothing to do with what all you want to do to Granby people. So it means that if you put a man like this to represent you, it means that there will be no representation because what? You can't read and write, you can't do this, you can't do that. You can't represent in that category of politics. So I'm trying to tell Granby people, man, tell handbag, call handbag, arrest handbag all over and put handbag to student, tell handbag, stop disrespecting Granby people, man, and disrespecting itself. And to me, they should take this fellow's support for abusing handbag. And the people are looking after abused people. They should go and warn UWP those people, man. No joke. Because that's a disrespect, man. To the country, to Granby people, it's a disrespect. And you have people that say this, but you're endorsing, you're stopping endorsing. But hold on. Simeon,
yes.
You know there is not a big difference between handbag and Lennox Linton when it comes to education.
I mean, it would seem so because
not a big difference, you know.
Yeah, it would seem so.
So that's why he will endorse handbag or they will endorse that because they're not a big difference. The only big difference between handbag and Linton, handbag is more hardworking than Linton. You realize that Linton do like to work hard?
You just said it.
He do like to work hard.
Yes.
To go for Manico early morning and go to early morning, is that okay? Huh?
Of course, you have to toil the land. Yes.
You have to toil the land, pass on the wood. I mean, I do that already. It's hard work, you know.
Yeah,
so, you know, those handbag, I've worked harder than Linton in all his life. Doing what he's doing, where he's supposed to be doing it. But that fool, what the man doing? 4 times to go in House of Assembly and after you drawing $5,000 to $6,000. Your conscience not troubling the man. Hey, but you shouldn't touch that money because what? You're not working hard. You're not working hard for it. And you come and talk your foolishness about everything. Do you know everything about Dominica Linton goes against a good thing?
Yep, and every time he presents something that
it's a lie.
You know, it's a lie. It's just rumors. You know, it's just allegations. Nothing with facts.
I'll show you something. Something I can't understand what you do with people. The Swiss money, the Switzerland money, the 3 something million dollars, they man negotiate outside of Parliament and get it. So, man, I don't know how all doesn't look for those check stubs and expose that Switzerland deal, the money they did. Because what? The people, the free companies from Marigot got the money and the proof, the stop checks is there. Who they give it to and where that fellow was his name, Savren Pinpin, was one of them they give was part of that big money in all. So I don't know why it doesn't go down on that thing with those fellows. Out of Parliament, you can negotiate free some point in million dollars. Outside. So when you get in Parliament, what do you do? You raid the treasury?
Yep. Yes.
Yes, and you destroy the country.
Yes.
A matter of fact, Simeon, you know when gangsters give you money, the money taken to 3.6 something million dollars. You know they're not stopping to look for you and to get your money. So in other words, now these fellas have to sleep with one eye closed because they have gangsters outside that waiting for their 6 something million dollars. They don't get it yet.
Yeah. Yeah.
That is why you're saying they're making all that effort to come inside to pay those guys.
Yes.
But those guys still want their money. So Linton and them have to be careful. Edison James, all of them have to be careful. They have to hide out in certain places because those guys still want their money. And they do all that. Don't think that's what I was talking about their 6 something million dollars.
Not at all.
That is why they're desperate. Some of them, I tell you, some of those fellows will disappear because they owe in big time. And it's gangsters they win. And gangsters doesn't let off when you have.
Yes. Okay. Not sure what happened to you there, but I seem to have lost you there. But you're making the point that the opposition, no doubt, they are hell-bent on fighting to get into office because of all of these gangsters and all of these people whom they have taken all of these millions of dollars from over the years. And obviously, there comes a point at which they have to pay them. But as we continue our discussion here tonight, you know, this National Joint Action Movement, you know, called NJAM, which is a consortium of persons who are supposed to know better, I believe. Some of them are, I believe they should be bright enough to understand that what they're getting into there. I mean, they have lawyers, you know, on that thing too. And it's just amazing what they sought to write. You know, the press statement, they put out a press statement on the 19th of November. You know, is Vince Henderson legally nominated to contest the Granby by-election? And then they ask this question with a question mark. But then they go on in that letter to say so many things, you know, and in that statement. And part of what I was reading is, just to read a little bit of it for those of you who may have somewhat missed it. They are saying here, it is indeed shameful that such a simple situation has to resort to external intervention. But the people of Dominica cannot rely on Vince Henderson for any credible information, knowing that his intention is to contest the election legally or illegally, and whatever the outcome, he will be, you know, he will end up in court. You hear that, people? It will be resolved by the court. So they already preparing themselves for whatever the outcome of this election, that it will end up in the court. So you see where they are already thinking of how to grab people money and put into their pocket. But I wanted to say this other verse there. In any event, they exclaim, the conduct of Mr. Henderson in relation to his nomination as a candidate is also offensive, monsieur. They say it's offensive, immoral, and unethical. To put it mildly, in these circumstances, NJAM condemns in the strongest language possible the offensive, immoral, and unethical conduct of Mr. Henderson as regards to his nomination as a candidate in the Granby by-election. Well, NJAM, I hope all you listen to Senior Counsel tonight, and I hope all you get an education from what senior counsel had to say tonight, because Isamu is on patches Sotkia and Jam. Good evening on the overseas line. I can't understand that.
What's up, bro?
Hey, my brother, Donnie, I'm good, man, and you?
I'm doing good, my brother. How you doing? Everything good?
Yeah, man, I'm cool, man. Just there reading some foolishness from Njam there and those so-called supposed to be intelligent people, yes.
But remember, who are the members of NJAM now?
Well, they have a few businessmen, like this guy who get over $10 million contract, and this Libla guy and all of those other guys. What his name? The former minister of government, Brian Allen's son, Bernard Allen.
Bernard Allen.
Bernard Allen.
Anthony Leblanc.
Anthony Leblanc, yes. And a few of them, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but to me, these are just UWP operatives.
That's right. That's right.
These guys, I think sometimes they do these things to be seen and to be heard.
Mm-hmm.
They look for attention, Simeon, because they are so badly bruised. They are so badly defeated. They going nowhere. You understand? There's no light at the end of the tunnel for these people.
Mm-hmm.
They're fighting a losing battle. So to them, when they come out and they make this, they put this thing in the public and they make noise. They feel good. To them, it's a way to ease their frustration.
Yes, yes.
Because senior counsel plainly explained, and senior counsel is one of the most experienced, the most successful lawyers in the Caribbean when it comes to constitutional matters.
Oh yes.
You understand?
Oh yes.
He has a magnificent record on such matters.
Oh yes.
And he plainly explained to the public, and I really want to thank him for that.
Oh yes, indeed.
That these guys are just on a fool's errand.
Mm-hmm.
They know. Simeon, it's like every other matter that they agitate on and they take to court. They know it's not going anywhere.
No.
It's not going anywhere.
No.
But they willfully ignore the facts, and they just want to stir up the public, and they make their little workers party followers feel good for a moment.
Mm-hmm.
That's what it is. I mean, when you cannot achieve anything in the political arena, you are left to making noise.
Yes.
Just make noise.
Yes.
Pretend like you have an issue. Pretend.
Mm-hmm.
So Q95 can talk about it, and Matt can talk about it, and they write about it, and like everything else is going to fizzle away and disappear.
Yes.
And it's going to be on to the next piece of garbage. That's all it is. Right? Now, interestingly, they're trying to twist the Constitution and put it in their own way. Ignore the relevant parts of it.
Yes.
And just keep fooling people like we just fool them and we're gonna accept it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. You're right.
But interestingly, Simeon, the same NJAM and the same Workers' Party and the same Linton, all of them who are supporting handbag, right?
Mm-hmm.
In the laws also said that somebody who's want to be nominated to contest election must be able to sufficiently read and write the English language.
That's correct.
It's in there.
Yeah, that's a part of the disqualification. If you can't read or write the English language, then you'll be disqualified by virtue of that. Yes, that's also in there.
So that would allow you to contribute to parliamentary debate. You understand?
Yes.
And they ignore that, and the guy from Colombia himself admits as such that he's not qualified because he's saying he will need an interpreter in Parliament.
Mm-hmm.
So why do they ignore that part of the Constitution?
Yeah, I know.
You don't talk about that.
No, that's,
I mean, we really don't care about it because Handbag is not going to win. Handbag is going to.
I mean, we're not even challenging anybody. I mean, the thing about the DLP, we are never in the business of challenging people. You know, it's always them that want to challenge us. You know.
Yeah, that's right.
For how many years, Ron Green had served in the government with his American citizenship? The Labour Party never took that up as an issue. We never made any noise about that. We never made that a problem until Linton decides that he wants to challenge everybody else. Poor man, God make Ron Green give up his Linton, you know, that caused Ron Green to give up his American citizenship. And to the point where, you know, he caused all that damage on the man. But we never made those things an issue. So it's always the UWP that want to challenge us when in return when you look at them, the very thing they are challenging us, they're self-committing it. Yes. Go ahead, brother.
Right. That's right. And Simeon.
Yes.
Have you noticed that every election, or every how I put it, every major piece of, you know, or some parliamentary bill or something that the government is going to put forward, right? The United Workers' Party always, even before the thing happens, they're looking for an excuse.
Yes.
Right? Before election happens, they're looking for an excuse. Right? They always looking for a way to short circuit.
Yes.
To an objective, right? And you know what that is? That is because they do not want to do what it takes to achieve a fair and square victory. You know why? Because they are lazy.
Yes.
They're not prepared to work hard. They're not prepared to bring themselves to the people. Look at Grand Bay, right? Linton has never been to Grand Bay. He do put up a candidate. It's too much hard work for him. Right? It's too much hard work for him. And like I said before, this election here, this by-election doesn't offer him the opportunity to go overseas and try to peddle passports and ambassadorship for money.
Yes, doesn't.
Because this is only one seat. Even if they win, they cannot be in government.
Right.
Right? But they are only so to him, Grambe is insignificant. To him personally, to his own personal financial well-being, profit, Grambe is insignificant.
That's right.
You understand? That is why they kept saying before the last general election, no reform, no election. But guess who's going to get nominated first? Linton.
Yes, I tell
right?
you, brother.
Because there comes the opportunity for him to go and promise people he will give them passports for positions, and he will get $400,000 US in return. Right? So this by-election to him is nothing.
It's not important.
Right now they have no time for people of Granby. They don't care about Granby.
No.
Right? Because it's not going to bring money in their pocket. Right? Money in their pocket. Every election time, 2005, 2009, 2019, right? It's time to make mucho large. 4.4 million by there. 1.5 million by there. That's how they're making big money. Sikiri just told you what they're doing. They own their own party member and deputy.
Yes.
You see? So these guys, I mean, these guys are the worst. I mean, these guys are pathetic, Simeon.
I know.
They're pathetic. They make it so obvious that they do not care about people.
No.
Right? They do not. Linton doesn't care about anybody, my friend.
No, I tell you, brother, man. Only person this man care about is himself.
Right? And they're so silly. They're so silly talking about handbag. Because of handbag, the whole cabinet goes to Granby. What handbag? right? That is what the party is supposed to do. Whether it was handbag, whether it was school bag, whether it was haversack, whether it was crocker's bag, that is what a political party is supposed to do. A party that is prepared to work.
That's right.
A party who does not see themselves as too big to go and meet the people and tell the people the plans I have for you. How hard I will work for you. How can I help you? How can I help your children get a scholarship? How can I can help a single mother and her kids get a home? What are my plans? Who am I going to talk to outside in the international community to see if I can raise funds to help?
Yes.
To build a feeder road or something, to do something. That is too much work.
Too much work for them.
Too much work. All Linton can do is sit down and write letters. Write letters. Letters that nobody responds to. Go on 55 and write letters.
Yes. Letters that goes nowhere.
I have never in my lifetime seen such a waste of time political party. Complete waste of time. Right? And just by merely being a member of that party, it just takes a toll on all of them life. Look at them. Gadayo.
Yeah, tell you, brother, man.
Look at them, Simeon.
He's rubbing out on them.
Lying.
He's rubbing out on them, yeah.
It is.
Yes.
All those men, they all send you can shake balao. You know what I'm saying?
Too much hate, man. Too much hate. Too much animosity, man. Too much.
That is right.
Too much, too much of that, man. Right. They getting up every day with that, and it's eating them out.
It's true. That takes a toll on them. It's true.
Yeah, it's eating them out.
You're right.
Some of them watch me like they like as if to say they want to throw me out. I say, someone fell, You go in Catholic, I go in Pentecostal, you vex. What you vex about? You know? I mean,
do you know one of the Workers' Party candidates tell one of my friends that he's supposed to beat me up, me.
Yeah.
because I call in the radio, no one to beat me up.
Yeah. But beat you up over what? I mean, the fact is that they are putting out propaganda on the other side. They are putting fake news out there on the other side. We on that side are putting out facts. I mean, like Senior Counsel did tonight. You are telling me that with all of the committee of lawyers that have been formed coming out of the UWP, that the leader of the opposition could not seek some advice on what he was about to write to the Commissioner of Police asking him to do? That there was no one that could tell them that this so-called disqualification move that they were going on, it doesn't make sense under the current laws of Dominica. I mean, they didn't know that this Schedule 1 exists. I mean, it's just I just don't get it.
But Simeon, you making a fantastic point, right? There are lawyers within the Workers' Party. Ronald Charles is a lawyer.
Yes.
Joshua is a lawyer, but Joshua, I think they kick him out. They kick him out of the party for now.
Yeah, they kick him out.
They suspend him, right?
Mm-hmm.
But do you realize whenever such matters arise, these lawyers never speak?
No. And those who speak?
They don't speak.
Yeah.
Right? And the person who doesn't have as much as a high school diploma is the one speaking like as if he's the lawyer Linton. Linton is the one speaking out like he's the legal expert. The lawyers stay silent because they know there's no point there. It's a waste of time. And then they bring up all kind of guys like Darius Lee. I don't know where they get these people.
I tell you, boy.
People you've never heard any who have no track record on such matters.
No, not at all.
You never. I mean, who is this guy? What has he done? What is his record? You know.
Yes.
So I mean, this guy is really, man, a really public nuisance. Nuisance, and all these guys keep doing, my brother, is making their supporters more and more ignorant, more and more ignorant, right? And I strongly believe, with all my heart, that Lennox Linton knows full well that he cannot be Dominica's prime minister. He will never be prime minister, right? But there is a lot of benefits of being leader of this party, and this machinery, this machination, right, has been exposed by San Rafael and by Al Jazeera. Right? That is what is in it for Linton, and that is the only thing he cares about. He protects this with his life. He doesn't want to leave that thing. Easy money.
Yes.
Right? It's easy money. You promise a man, hey, when I win, and knowing well you cannot win, but you make the people believe you're going to win.
Yes. Fool them.
Right? Fool them. When I win, I will make you a diplomat, give you a passport, right? All you got to do is me $400,000 US.
Imagine that.
Easy money.
I tell you, boy. I tell you, man.
Easy money, Simeon. Right? And that is what this guy is motivated about solely. That is it.
Yes. Yes.
That's all it is. Nothing else matters to him. Right? To go and seek help to the government for his constituents is going to a fish market. And he will not dare do that. He won't go there and get dirty and stinky. No, he's not going to do that. Right? He don't have time. He don't have time for people to come and ask him for assistance because they are prostitutes in his eyes.
Yes, yes.
Right? And if an elderly person gets some assistance, they're greedy. Right? That's how we look down on Dominicans.
Yes.
That is his impression of Dominicans. They're greedy, they're prostitutes, they're mendicants.
Yeah.
You know? So there's nothing that Linton is interested in as it pertains to Dominica's development and people development. Nothing at all.
Yes. Nothing.
Linton is in this, him and his party, him and his godfather in this, running this franchise to make money for themselves.
But you know, Donny, I mean, over the last 20 years since we've been there, in government plus and counting, on every single occasion where this opposition party presented something that they were beating their chest on and almost feeling like they're doing such a good job, for Dominica, turns out to be a mess. I mean, in every single case, no matter which foreigner they get to come and speak on their behalf, no matter what is it that they pull out of wherever they're pulling it out, it's always misleading information.
Always. Right? Because, Simeon, that is how they keep the people excited.
Yes.
And that is how they audition. That's how they act. It's like a cast of characters in a movie. They put on an act so they could make the people out there who they owe the money believe that something is wrong in Dominica. That's why they came in elections. They are acting to an outside audience. They're benefactors.
Yes.
Remember, they told them, "I am going to win election." So now they have to make the people believe it was stolen. It's illegal. Vince is not eligible. You say it's all. That's what they're doing. It's a show.
Yes.
It's a show.
Yes.
It's a performance.
Yes.
It's a whole performance. The starring of the Soul Linton and co.
Yeah, because even when I read these letters and all of these things these guys put out there, I mean, for example, when they put things like, it may be necessary for the intervention of Crime Stoppers International because it appears that the basic principles of crime prevention are being violated in broad daylight. Criminals are not only those who steal in ideology, in violence, those who aspire to lead, represent our community, more show example. I mean, can you imagine that? I mean, these guys take their time and pen this kind of, pen these things, send that out there as press releases, and I mean, you know,
it's just complete buffoonery. Complete buffoonery, Simeon. Waste of time, you know. Tell these guys need to get a life, right? Get a life. Go do some hard work. Go do some work and stop going on the radio and writing letters. Go do some work. Be of some use to your nation. Right? Go impact on somebody's life positively. Do something. Right? You can't have a political party. You cannot be a political party and you can't help nobody, my friend. And looking for people to give you their money every time. Right? You are flawed. You are fake. It's phony. That's politics, is hard work. And you get to take care of people, not the other way around. Every time you turn around, they have a back collecting money. Unending begging. Who are the beggars in Dominica? They.
Yes.
You know, 20 years you begging for money. Where all the money gone? and that money goes to assist nobody in Dominica, but one person.
No one person.
Come on, Simeon. These guys are this shame and disgrace, man. And I tell you, anytime somebody finds themselves in that party, Simeon,
yes,
their life is basically over.
Yeah, they end up the same way.
That's it.
Yeah, they end up the same.
Once you see you join Workers' Party, will feel bad. You're done. You're done. That's like a bottomless pit. It just sucks you down. You finish.
Yes.
Your life is in shambles.
Yes.
I mean, look at them. The list is very long. I'm counting. You know, and any such organization that instead of elevating your quality of life and your standard of living and takes you the opposite, you should be very scared and wary of them. You should run far from these people.
Yes.
Because they're bad for people. They're bad for Dominica. They're bad for their own members, except for two: Godfather and his protege.
Yes.
All right, Simeon.
Thank you, my brother.
Much.
Thank you again.
Have a wonderful evening.
You too, man. Thank you. Thank you again for your contribution. Here, we will continue to keep the fire.
Some man want to run the country, but they have no capability. So mind if you red, green or black, once you have Dominica at heart.
I telling you, some of them want to run the country, but they don't have no capability. On the overseas line, they call a good evening to you.
Yes, boy, Simeon, boy, fireman touching base. Simeon, how are you doing tonight, Simeon?
Fireman, I'm good, thank you. God bless, man.
But Simeon, let me give you a joke, boy, Simeon, before I give my little 2 cents. He does something. I have a partner, right? He's a Rasta man. He says he doesn't eat no meeting whatsoever, only talking. But every time he go eat his food, I did it. So we go so many by order food. So before I don't see what he order. So me myself, when I go, I tell him, man, I want the same food my bedroom order. Who tell you Simeon, boy, when I open my food, boy? A big piece of meat below the bowl, and only how they have it, flow kind of plate, right? the man put all limit below and put the full on top, so the full heavy. The man give me the same thing. I tell Mr. Boy, the whole problem. So it's not kind of problem what we're living in.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Back to the occasion now. Me tell something similar, well and truly.
Uh-huh.
You know, in the Windward Island there, right, we have St. Lucia, St. Vincent, Grenada, and River Nica, right?
Right.
Which is 4 islands in the Windward Island.
Yeah.
Now, the Leeward Island also have how many of them? But you have 2 bigger islands in the Leeward Island, which is Antigua and St. Kitts and Nevis. And you include in St. Martin, which is the official place, Anguilla, Montserrat, St. Thomas, and St. Croix in the Leeward same way, right?
Right.
But you know, right and truly in the Caribbean there, we River Nica have a world boss leader, a world boss. And you know, right and truly in the Caribbean or in the Windward Island there, we have the worst opposition leader, right and truly.
Yeah, you're right on that one. Yes, you're right on that one.
Simeon, what is good at Simeon as an opposition leader, right? Even right there in River Nica, right? You know, Top Up is the one that is the lowest in all them candidates in River Nica right now, when you think of it for yourself. Because everybody in the Labour family, they qualify. They're well-grown leader and they're well-qualified. You see what I'm saying?
Yes,
so what I'm doing, Top Up now, Top Up want to get a company, so you realize if you hook up Hamburg in the company, you'll have a good company for people to fuck side pass him and check an handbag back at the Hamburg. You know what I'm saying?
Yep. But I have to ask you to make your closing remarks there for me, because I have Senior Minister coming in on the other line there, and I got to bring him up. Yes.
Okay, because I'm trying to bring my little fire, but should the big man come in?
Yes.
Fireman go give his little 2 cents. Anyhow, fireman go listen. But anyhow, I have to say, Simon, well and truly.
Yes.
As man, we have one of the worst opposition leaders. And I tell you right now, I watch it go there. Well, boys, just give a news the other day. They are talking about we're going to get a visa free to go to China, and which I organizing myself to take my trip. Now, think of hot joke or hot joke. Big America can have to have a visa to go to America. I saw hot joke can help them to get the visa free into China. You know what I'm saying?
Yes, I.
So what I say now, World Boss is a champion, and we need a real champion in our area, in our constituency, or in our island, in our place, in our village, all over.
Yeah, man.
Somebody that's well-grown need to be a leader in our Caribbean island.
We did.
River Nica. Anyhow,
thank you, man.
Top up.
Yeah, man.
Fireman rolling. Keep the fire blazing.
Take it easy there, Fireman. Will certainly link up a little later down, of course. Got to bring in a Senior Minister on the line. Of course, please hold on. Let me get a Senior Minister on the line there. Yes.
I believe they want to feather their nest. Well, if you want them, keep the fire burning. Keep the fire burning. Burn them with your vote on the election day. When you vote in a party, remember to vote the LP, vote the Labour Party all the way. Keep the fire burning. Keep the fire burning. Burn them with your vote on the election day. When you vote in a party, remember to vote the LP, vote the Labour Party all the way. One down. If you play with fire, you get burned. Housing and education revolution have been doing well for our nation.
Yes. Welcome back to you wherever you are listening. Of course, on the line with me is our Senior Minister, Honorable Reginald Ostrich. Good evening to you and welcome.
Hey, Simo, good evening, my brother. How are we doing?
I am good, thank you. God bless you. Holding on strong.
Well, Simeon, I want to personally apologize to Fireman for having him to fall short his contribution. He's a gentleman I love very much. He brings a different spin onto every program that he calls.
Yes, indeed.
And I really love listening to the guy. But, I having a lot of difficulty in getting you, and, for the last couple of months, really.
Yes.
We've been having, I don't know what the hell is wrong with this, with one of our phones, but I always have trouble getting you. So that's why I always try to give you long notice.
Yes, indeed.
And I'm very happy that we can dialogue for a little bit tonight.
No problem.
Compensate for Fireman. I'm gonna shut my contribution so he can call back and finish making his point.
Feel free. You have the time.
Simeon, let me say good night to everybody and to the team that have been calling your programs not only tonight but every other night. and the country. Why I think tonight was particularly interesting.
Yes,
you know?
it was. Yes, indeed.
Particularly interesting, especially with senior counsel really laying simple facts, facts that can easily be read. It was not preparing no defense for no case. It was just reading straight from the Constitution and the various documents.
Yes.
That does not make Vince's nomination illegal.
Right.
And even if, Simeon, it does, there are laws in this country that provide for when those things happen. And the election laws, I believe, you can go to the court via election petitions, which is the way that you deal with those sort of matters. And it's interesting that the United Workers' Party would not go down the route that is provided for by the law, which is to wait, the election goes through, and then you raise a claim, you raise a petition through whatever means, and the matter goes to court, and the matter is decided at the court. So this call of calling the police to investigate, this is us dramatizing the matter.
Of course it is.
And Simeon, I see it as intimidation to the voters, and they should be arrested for intimidating voters not to go to the polls, because they are sending this fear into these people that Vince is illegal, so don't waste your vote. You understand? It's a strategy being employed by the United Workers' Party to prevent our people, the Dominican Labour Party supporters in Granby, because a number of people have called me, Simon, almost in case labor rights, Reggie boy. What I hear in there, boy, Reggie boy.
Yes.
Suppose Vince illegal, boy, and boy Vince wouldn't make it, boy. And what? So, and that is the exact effect that the United Workers' Party want this thing to have, where our people would be afraid to go to the polls, because as far as the United Workers' Party tell them that you won't have a power rep in Vince, so it doesn't make sense to vote for Vince.
No.
And so their man, or they could come in, not them, but they could come in by default.
Yes.
You hearing me?
Loud and clear.
If Labour Party decides that we're not going to then clearly there's one candidate on the ballot, which is Sean Spadner. I'm handbag. You understand? So we need to let our people understand. And Tony did a good job that Vince is legally nominated.
Yes.
And nothing can stop Vince from being elected as the next parliamentary representative for the Grande constituency.
That's right.
And in the usual style now, they may want to go to court like they have been several times. Because the NJM, which really is the breakaway faction from Lennox Linton, have said to you that win or lose, the matter will go to court.
Yes, they are looking at court already.
And what they have not called yet is for the people to begin to contribute to that matter.
Right.
So it's another fundraising strategy being employed by the United Workers' Party to go to these people who they claim are so poor and have no money and things are so bad they can't feed their children. But they're getting ready to get the same people to contribute to a legal fund to fight Vince on a matter that is legal, and they cannot win just like all the other matters they file against the Dominican Labour Party. So let us pay close attention to that. But more interesting is, Simeon, that matter is so clearly laid out. So clearly laid out that Lennox Linton, I mean, even the stupidest lawyers they have supporting them would know the facts. But they will not admit they know the facts. They will allow Linton, apparently because clearly Linton did not go for advice from them. Because they have declared war on Linton.
Yes.
Remember these lawyers and the NJMs and the CCMs and all these church groups who are not happy with Lennox Linton's performance as leader of the United Workers' Party, who are trying to get rid of Lennox Linton, who Loftus Jura was lobbying and campaigning, he and Sikiri, to get rid of Lennox Linton. These lawyers are part of this conspiracy to get rid of Lennox Linton.
That's right.
And so they will continue to allow Lennox Linton to make a fool of himself, to push him deeper and deeper into the burning furnace of politics. To burn him alive, Simu. Try to follow my argument.
Yeah, I'm with you. I'm with you. Yes.
Sometimes I can be a little difficult.
No, but you're on point. You're on point.
Clearly, it's a strategy being utilized by these people who want to get rid of Leonard Clinton. By these people who Leonard Clinton have embarrassed for the last 10, 15 years since he has been leader of the United Workers' Party. That have not taken the United Workers' Party, not to one single victory. In spite of all the money that Leonard Clinton have been able to raise.
Yes.
Including the last 400,000 times 2 that he got from this bunch of criminals that he didn't know who he promised to make ambassadors to Dominica.
Yes.
I mean, within 28 days after he wins the election.
28 days, yes.
So men know that Leonard Clinton got money. Men know that Leonard Clinton have money. And that has nothing to do with previous elections when they got money from STL. He and Edison Eames were swimming and dancing in money. Yet still, they allow Mervyn John Baptist to pull out on their Trump case, a case that they have been preparing for the last 7 years.
And collecting money on.
And collecting money, several fundraising monies, and until the lady had to call them and ask them, but my brother, how will you have Mervyn unrepresented? And where all the money I personally put into this fund? And after asking for that money, they shut up on the radio.
Yep.
Because she has been consistently asking, the money all you get, the money I put, the money I give, how comes Mervyn cannot have legal representation when I gave all your money for Mervyn's legal representation? Because you guys have been asking us for money to defend that particular matter. And Lennox has kept all the money for himself.
Yes.
And when they asked, Brian told us, when Brian responded to the lady, Brian told the lady to go to Leonard Clinton, go to Nicholas George, and go to Isaac Baptist. They know where the money is.
Yeah.
You remember that?
Oh yes. They would have the answers.
Yes, so Brian told them that yes, we agree that only we have money in the fund. Yes, that should have money, but only 3 men know about that money in that fund. Is my brother, Leonard Clinton, Nicholas George, and Isaac Baptist. And so when you add all of that, there are certain sects of the United Workers' Party who want to get rid of Leonard Clinton. They have formed their own separate little groupings, and they're now planning to see if at the next convention of the United Workers' Party, they can put Lennox out. So they're allowing him now. They're allowing him now to make a fool of himself so they can have that as a black mark against him when they come to launch the campaign against Leonard Clinton. You hearing me?
Loud and clear.
And so that's a strategy. So labor rights in Granby in particular must block the ears to this nonsense about Vince not being qualified. Let the election roll and take us to court. You hear me? As the law provides for, take Vince to court as provided for by the elections law. And let the court decide. You understand? But in the meantime, wait for this appeal that they have to raise money and they must really need legal, because if you don't put money in that legal fund for us, we'll not be able to think blah, 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 blah. So that's where we are with this. But I think Tony was very, very clear.
Very clear.
And for those of us who listen, I mean, we can go in court and defend that matter because the matter is clear.
Clear, man.
There's no matter before us, actually.
Right.
But, Simo,
yes.
You see, and even men, I mean, like Sean, who was glorifying handbag, who launched a scathing attack against education to the point that Sean was comparing handbag to former prime ministers of the OECS and CARICOM.
Imagine.
Accusing them of they not being educated and they could be prime minister, so why the hell handbag can be parallel?
I tell you, boy, them fellas, they're easy.
I mean that's the extent to which Sean and the United Workers' Party, Sean, call him however you want. That is the extent to which they took that matter. And to tie up a man like Weber, who was a trade unionist who fought for the liberation of the people of Antigua. And they talk about Ebenezer Joshua, and I think they even mentioned Libland name in it too. I can't remember.
Yeah, he did mention Libland, those names there.
Yes. I mean, how could any right-thinking Dominican compare handbag to Libland or to Weber or to Joshua in St. Vincent? These guys were in power about 50, 60 years ago.
Yes.
When we were in semi-darkness, now we have been enlightened. That even to clean the streets now, we have changed the name to sanitary engineer to glorify the job. And any job, Simeon, that you apply for in this country, they ask you for your qualification, whether it's a certificate, whether it's a diploma, whether it's CXC, whether it's GC. There's no job that you can go to that you will have to supply some sort of qualification, not that, but some sort of qualification. But Sean can talk like that. Because Sean has wasted his time with his laziness. Don't forget, Simeon, Rosie Douglas refused to employ Sean, you know.
I remember that very well.
You know, when we made him press secretary.
Yes.
Rosie Douglas didn't want to see Sean because he was lazy and stupid. And you cannot tell me which other job that Sean has held in his lifetime.
Yeah, I don't know of another one.
Tell me, the last job Sean had was to manage the snacking. And even that he failed because Environmental Health Office had to close the snacking because of the infestation of rats and cockroaches and flies.
Jeez,
the only mistake they made is they didn't close Sean in it. Let them rats eat him up inside it. You know? Yes, that's the only mistake the Environmental Health Officer made. That they should recommend that Sean cell should be closed inside because he himself is a contaminant to the society. And he should be put away, beg on eyes, jails, wash out, clean up before they let him go into the society. But I know the point. Simo?
Yes.
The other point we need to make is they keep talking about the Dominican Labour Party has been in power for 21 years.
Yes.
And they're correct. Yes, we have been in for 21 years. But what they fail to tell us is under what conditions, what we met, what we had to deal with. And Simon, I suspect many of the young people probably will not remember that because we're talking about something that happened 22 years ago.
Yes, about this.
And many of the young voters in this country who are now 18 or 17 and who voted last election are not always privileged to have the facts that preceded them. And so, Simo, you were there in 20, you were there in
99, 2000.
Yes, in 2000 when we won the elections.
Yes, very much so.
And what has happened? What did we meet? Under the United Workers' Party, which they failed to talk about, and of which they have not apologized to the people of Dominica for.
Yeah.
Simo, you remember, we had a deficit at that time, 2020, of $276 million deficit on the consolidated fund. That is what the United Workers' Party left. That is what we met when we got in 2000. We also met an overdraft. That was $87 million, which was $37 million over what was approved by the Parliament.
That's right.
Because we approved normally 50, now we're doing a little 55 and so on. But at the time it was $50 million approved by the Parliament. When the United Workers' Party left, and that is basic, simple economics.
Yes.
That anytime you finish fifth form in high school, and you finish college, no matter what subject you do in the college, you must have had a one or two sessions in economics and law, any one of them. You understand? Simo, we also met $53 million worth of unpaid checks at the Treasury.
That's right.
That is checks where people were owed by the state, and there was no money to pay them.
No.
You understand? There was no money to pay them. And when we came into government, we met this $53 million sitting there at the Treasury for us to pay because you had to pay the people.
Yes.
Because those debts were contracted by the government. So we cannot say, well, because you don't believe that do it, so we're not paying it.
That's right.
You hear me? Simo, we also met $9 million worth of LPOs. Today they want to criticize us and say who taking our LPO and who not taking our LPO. But that started in their days.
Yes.
Because 9 million we met unprocessed LPOs. That's monies we took from the private sector, from the small businesses, and the government could not pay for it. You hearing me?
Loud and clear, my brother.
Simo,
Mm-hmm.
Social Security.
Oh, my.
Social Security. Where the government deducted money from people's salary.
Mm-hmm.
People's property. Where is Thomas Letter? Is he up or sleeping?
He might be up still.
Thomas Letter allowed his party, the United Workers' Party, to deduct from his membership $33 million. And they only made one payment
Yes.
within that 4.5-year period.
Mm-hmm.
Drain the Social Security. Had there been any kind of pandemic like what we had seen right now?
Mm-hmm.
And we had to send people to get money from Social Security, a stimulus package in the previous outbreak, in the first outbreak of COVID. Remember?
Mm-hmm.
We put money at the Social Security and people could use their contribution to get back to them. That's when they made the trouble. That's scary when you take people's Social Security money and help people to buy bread, to put on the table, and to feed their children.
Mm-hmm.
They opposed it
Yes.
until the PM had to change his mind,
Yes. Yes.
imposing further hardship on the people of Dominica. 33 million they stole from public officials. Because if you take a man's property for a particular purpose and you don't give it back to him at the appropriate time, you have stolen him and money.
Denying them the benefits.
Denying them the benefits of their sweat and their toil. 33 million. That's what the government made. Simo, we also made $14 million worth of gratuities to be paid.
Imagine that.
That's people who had contributed their life 40 years, 35 years, 30 years of service to the people of Dominica. And now they're retired. Their children are in school. They have to finish pay their mortgage. They have their debts to pay. They have 1 or 2 children at university and depending on their gratuity to meet their family and their personal needs.
Yes.
The United Workers' Party could not pay that. And we made $14 million worth of unpaid gratuity to public officers. So, that is what we met.
Yes.
That is the same United Workers' Party. Nothing else. The same United Workers' Party who put the country in that kind of crisis between 1995 and 2000. Today they're walking up and down as if they clean. Simeon, that is what they did to our economy.
Yes.
Simo, that wasn't all. Simeon, we had $81 million worth of debt to regional institutions to include interest and principal. 81 million. Simon, I cannot do the math, but maybe Daryl or somebody will calculate and then they'll tell you what was the state of the economy as far as cash was concerned when we got in here in 2000. Simon, we owed 42.8 million to regional institutions that we depend on for services. The United Workers' Party had not paid those institutions, so they would have denied us the services of the institutions that we have been paying for long before they came into government. They did not pay it, Simeon, and that is a country where they say that they leave money, missing money. Of course, but they make debt, but that money was in terms of debt.
Yes.
So yes, they left debt, missing debt, and debt upon debt. And when they were not satisfied, Simo, they went to Trinidad when they could not pay salaries. They went to Trinidad. They borrowed $140 million.
Yes.
No bank wasn't going to give them any money. No bank. No bank, no institution. The IMF had won them. The ECCB had won. The World Bank had won. Which other institution? IMF had won them. And when they could not qualify, they did not qualify for no other money. They had to run to this bogus bank. Well, the bank in Trinidad, the bank wasn't bogus, but the conditions.
Yes.
The conditions under which we had to receive that money, Simeon. All our dividends had to go to the sinking funds from Cable and Wireless and Domlec.
Domlec, yes.
And you know what, Simeon? Them son of a bitches defaulted on the first payment. When the first payment became due, they could not pay for it, Simeon. They could not pay the Supreme Court. 13 million, 13.6. And Simeon, in 1999, when they couldn't pay salaries, you know where they got money to pay salaries?
Where?
Through St. Lucia's credit at the ECCB, $15 million.
Yes, I.
You hear me? $15 million, Simo. $15 million that St. Lucia had to help us to pay. And you know what? They defaulted on that payment also. Simon, tell me. Yes, we know the United World Party have no pride. They have no shame. They have no faith. But why would you want to humiliate yourself to that extent by incurring all these debts, Simeon? And you know you cannot pay.
Yes.
You could not even go to the your traditional financiers for money. They would not give you any money. So you were bankrupt. The country was bankrupt, upside down. And they went for their salvation. And that is why they had to call election 6 months early. Because they didn't know where they would get money to pay January salaries. You hear me?
Yes.
Because they got 15 million from St. Lucia, which they defaulted on. So how are they going to pay salaries for the next 6 months? They couldn't. So they were forced, including having sold Domlec for 21 million. Power Domlec, power state assets. Everything they could lay their hands on to sell or to give away, they sold it and gave it away because the country was broke under the United Workers' Party.
That's right.
And they lost the election. The people of Dominica understood what these guys had done to the economy because they impacted every sector in the economy. Was under pressure from the United Workers' Party. No gratuity, no salary, no social security, zero. No LPOs could be paid. Unpaid checks sitting there. Simon, how much more broke could an economy be?
I don't think it could be any more broke. I mean, they had actually exhausted all means of borrowings that the government had.
Right. That's right. And this Labour Party under Rosie Douglas, Pierre Charles, and now Roosevelt Skerrit had to fix these issues.
That's right.
So yes, my brother, we had to go under the IMF for the first 5 years on a very tight. I mean, we had to get the extreme measures.
Austerity.
Because our situation was so bad, it's like you have a bubble, Simo. And it cannot cure.
I think every citizen in Dominica had got used to the word austerity measures.
That's right. That's right. That bubble couldn't cure, and it reached a stage where you had to amputate the leg. It can't cure. You have diabetes, your bubble cannot cure. And you have to lose the leg.
Yes.
And that is what we met when we came in, a legless economy. An economy without foot, both legs cut by the United Workers' Party. Pierre Charles died trying to fix it. Rosie Douglas died trying to fix it. And they knew how bad it was. They were predicting that Roosevelt Skerrit would die trying to fix it.
That was their prediction, yes.
But history has proven them wrong.
That's right.
And we have not only fixed it, but we have moved this country way ahead. Today, that Dominica is one of the leading economies in the OECD when we were Kakarot. You remember, Simo, when you went to St. Lucia to check your girlfriend a couple years, it's long time, as I hope that's a long time ago.
Yes.
Oh, where you from, Dominica? And people just turn their back on you.
I tell you, brother.
We were like lepers in the region.
Yes, yes.
Nobody wanted to call Dominica's name because we owed St. Lucia, we owed IMF, we owed ECCB, we owed everybody in the world money.
I mean, no private sector here in Dominica would accept an LPO from government at those times?
Never. They didn't have anything to give because their money which they had to restock was in the treasury. 53 million one way, another 9 million the other way. How can a local private sector, today you're talking about private sector, when you were the one who killed the private sector? By not paying them, and then you want to tell me, I'm 20 years ago, what I'm talking about. But they keep making reference to 20 years ago.
Yes, they refer to it as when money was meeting money, Senior Minister.
Yes. So every time you raise 20 years of Labour Party in government, we must go back to the beginning of those 20 years. And to tell the United Workers' Party and the people of Dominica that what we're going through today is as a result of the mismanagement of the economy by the United Workers' Party 20 years ago. And we fixed it.
Yes. Yes.
We paid our debts. We had to do debt reconciliation. We had to do debt restructuring. We went to the IMF, to the World Bank, and we pleaded our case to them. We put hard measures on our people because we had to bring it down before we could bring it back up.
Yes, they call that bite the bullet at the time. You had to bite the bullet.
That's right. And Dominicans understood that at the time.
That's why they gave us a second term in 2005.
Yes.
When we said to them, look, things are so bad that it will get worse before it gets better. But we promise you, as a caring government, we will make it better. But if you elect us,
That's right.
and that was when we put all these safety measures, all these social programs. That was the origin of our social programs. To ensure that our people didn't feel the less fortunate, the most vulnerable, did not feel the brunt of the austerity measures that we were implementing. And that is where most of our social programs got their genesis from.
Yes.
Simo.
Yes.
That is what it was. And the people of Dominica, they had faith in us. They did not vote us in 2005. They voted us again in 2009 because they could see the gradual progress that we were making under Roosevelt's tariff.
That's right. That's
When
right.
we established new relationships, we expanded our relationship with Venezuela. We entered into diplomatic relationships with China. You understand? We cultivated new friends. Vince went to the UN and ensured that we established new relationships
That's right.
to ensure that we could move our country forward. And you have to credit Vince for that, if for nothing else. But you have to credit Vince for the representation that he gave us at the time when we needed it most.
That's right. That's right.
You hearing me, Simo? And now I'm Lauren, his continuous footsteps.
Yes.
But Simo, that is not even all. What about the natural disasters that we face?
Yes. Oh, Lord have mercy.
Huh? What about Hurricane Lenny in 1999? Simo, when we had to face $109 million worth of damage.
Yes.
That's what it was recorded as. In terms of damage infrastructure, roads, city fence walls, and housing, $109 million. Simo. Simo, in 2008.
Yes.
When Simeon, over 125 families were on the West Coast were impacted by Hurricane Irma. You remember Hurricane Irma?
Oh, yes. Oh, yes. Hurricane
Some people forgetting that. United Workers Party deliberately forgetting that. And Simo, you want to talk about Erica?
Oh, that was just
When
another
they had to
classic.
relocate 2 villages.
Wow. No one knew how that one was going to turn out. I tell
When we
you.
experienced a $1.5 billion loss in the housing sector, $1.4 billion in the housing sector, Simo. 28,000 houses were damaged. 5,300 totally destroyed. And you're telling me you adding that to our 20 years? We were there for 21 years. But that is what we were dealing with in 21 years.
Yep. Yep.
You hear me, Simo? And Simeon, then Erica, you want to talk about Erica? But before Erica, you want to talk about Ophelia? You want to, in 2010, you want to talk about the December 12th in 2013?
Yes, it's caused some damage again.
You want to talk about, and you want to talk about Maria?
Oh, that swept the country.
And you want to tell us, Dominicans, what has Labour Party done in 21 years? We were first of all beginning to fix your mess. Tell Sean we were fixing his mess. And tell Gabriel Christian he was part of us at the time trying to fix UWP mess. But because he did not get the contract to manage the geothermal project, he fell out with the government. That is what the Gabriel Christian problem is about. And Sean wanted the same salary as a minister. When we do you a favor to give you a job you had never worked in your life, Rosie refused to employ you. Piatas and the Dominican Labour Party felt sorry for you. We gave you a little job.
Yes.
A job doing nothing. And you come in and ask for a minister's salary.
Imagine that, eh?
And when you were denied, you resigned. Playing hot shot. You have never held another job since that time. Playing hot shot, and now you're vexed with the government?
Yes.
And and all of them, Simeon,
Yes.
that have issues with the government now, is something they wanted from the government and they didn't get it. And something that they wanted to get Roosevelt Skerrit to do, and Roosevelt Skerrit would not do it.
And even when they wanted to do something and they get it, they didn't even know what to do with it.
That's right.
Because if he wanted to export water, he got licenses. What has he done?
How much maybe I was the minister at the time, and not as me or the president then. He and David Bruni.
Yes.
They said they had a big market in Anguilla, and Anguilla can take, if we could send the river to Anguilla, Anguilla would take it. See what we gave after a river. We gave after the Melville River. We tell him don't pay no taxes, don't pay nothing. Just take the water and sell the water.
Yes.
Jick Jordy. Jick Jordy.
Yes,
not 1 gallon, not 1 gill, not 1 ounce of water Africa could sell. Not one.
Imagine that.
You understand, Simo?
Yes.
And that is where we find ourselves with this guy. You know, and today, Simeon, and at another program, we will tell the people of Dominica, and I hope it's Tuesday night.
Yes.
What is it that we have been able to accomplish? Why are we trying to clean up the mess of the United Workers' Party? Why we have to be fighting all these damages by hurricanes?
Yes.
We were still able to achieve to the point today. We're talking about building an international airport.
And we are already commencing.
And we have started, we'll sign the agreement in December. We have paid for the land. Work has commenced on the international airport. And everybody find it impossible. They say it's a gimmick. They say it's not Jim. That's not like an Alice in Wonderland project. Because having been through 20 years after United Workers' Party, nobody thought that would have been able to date us out building an international airport. Something that has eluded several governments before us. And this Labour Party, based on our management of our economy, and there were many institutions who were skeptical about wanting to build an airport. And when we put them to sit down, including the World Bank, who told the United Workers' Party that going to do what they're doing in Melvin Hall would be creating an albatross around the necks of the Dominican people for generations.
According to them, they said it would bring serious difficulty and hardship on the citizens of this country.
That is how the World Bank described the airport project, because they knew where the economy was. They knew that Social Security was not getting paid. They knew that we had $53 million of unprocessed checks. They knew that we had $40 million of people's gratuity. They knew because we were not paying them as one of our affiliate institutions, Simeon.
That's right.
And when they look at that, they said, look, you guys cannot, we should not. And the technique was wrong, the strategy was wrong, the location was wrong, everything was wrong. And that is why the World Bank and they were so hard on us, because they warned UWP, do not go down that road, you will not be able to come out. And UWP defied them and denied them.
That's
and so said, so done. They went into a hole of which the Dominican Labour Party had to remove the government from that hole. And so, Simeon, we'll talk about the successes of the Labour Party in the next couple of days.
Yes.
But that is where we are today, where the government now building homes for people. We have a very tight social program. Simeon, we paying our debts.
Yes.
We paying our contributions. We paying our institutions. You understand?
Yes.
We're doing it right now. And we have the full confidence and the full backing of our international regional partners in that regard.
Yes.
To the extent now, Simeon, when other countries get disasters, we send money to them. We help them. We help St. Vincent. We help St. Kitts. We help St. Lucia. We help in all the countries. When we were the ones at the begging end for people to help us today, because of the successes that we have made in rescuing our economy. Simeon, we can now tell students going to the college that we can cancel their college fees because the country can now afford to pay your college fees.
And I mean, have been spending millions and paying universities across the world for...
Universities across the board. Simeon, the National Employment Program. We have not yet, for once, not been able to pay our young people who are on the street unemployed. Going down a very dangerous road of social degradation. And we put them to work, Simeon, whether it's for 3 days, and there's nothing wrong because they're getting $600 for 3 days.
Yeah.
So they're almost making as much money as a junior clerk in the public service.
And many people have gone through that program and I mean excel to being fully employed by many firms across Dominica over the years.
But when they hear NEP, they look at the people taking the beautification.
Yes.
They look at how people raking and keeping the country clean.
They don't see those that are in the bank, those that are in the insurance.
We have NPs in the bank.
That's right, in insurance companies,
NP in the hotel.
at the hospitals.
We have NP people at the hospital.
Mm-hmm.
You understand? We have NP people all across the country, in the private sector, all over.
That's right.
We have our university graduates getting paid as university graduates at those institutions.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes we pay half, sometimes we pay all. That is what this country has been able to give back to the people of Dominica because of the sacrifices that we made when we needed them from 2000. We have been able to pay our seniors $300 even if they have not contributed to the Social Security Fund.
That's right. That's right.
Everybody who turned 70, men who had never worked for the government, people didn't even know these guys.
That's
These
true.
guys never came to town. There was no business in Roseau.
Mm-hmm.
It was up in their gardens they were going. Didn't have no Social Security to pay. We ensure that they can enjoy a little something, 300, that cover in a big hole for them, Simeon.
Oh, you mean the man? I mean, these people.
That is our record. On that basis, we go to the people of Dominica in any constituency and ask them for their vote, and they will give us their vote. Because they understand from where we took this country and where we have it now.
Yes, yes.
Do you hear me, Simeon?
Loud and clear.
And here you have this major political party. You have a by-election in one of the most important constituencies in the country for a number of reasons. You can't file a candidate. You can't find a candidate. You're not putting up a candidate and you're depending on a man who told you that his biggest job was being a conductor of a bus and running behind Aguti and Manico. The guy said, I left school. I left school because I couldn't take it, I couldn't make it, I couldn't do it. I tried. I tried my best, but it was not working for me. So I left school and I went to run behind Manico. And then the guy says to you, it's okay. I will get an interpreter. I don't want to speak. And Sean agrees with him.
Yeah.
Sean agrees with him. That, yeah, just get an interpreter, man. So, but you know, our law doesn't provide for that. Why is that interpreter going to sit?
Well, I guess.
The law does not make provision for an interpreter in Parliament.
Well.
It does not even make provision for speaking part when people say, I denigrate the language. No, I'm not denigrating the language. And we have been talking about making patois an official language in the Parliament. We have been talking about this for a while.
Yeah, that have been raised.
Yes. And I remember Madam Speaker raising it. So I'm not bastardizing patois. Moi, on est patois, moi, je parle patois, on n'est pas pour n'importe quoi, moi, je parle patois.
Ça, c'est vrai.
Moi, je compte patois là.
Ah, ouais.
But to take it to the Parliament, there has to be the necessary. And you know what they tell me? Oh, well, pass the law for handbag. What the hell is that from here? You choose your bad candidate. You choose a candidate that cannot read and write. You choose a candidate that can only articulate in patois. You telling me now that the responsibility to accommodate your candidate who is illiterate, I must go to Parliament and pass the law and call it the handbag amendment bill. Simo, please help me, Simo.
I'm serious.
If I'm not making sense to you, you don't mean to have a good relationship. I'll make sense to you. You want me to go to Parliament and pass the handbag amendment bill in the Parliament? And to amend the standing order for handbag sake?
Lord, I'm serious.
For handbag sake, when you don't clearly state that if you cannot read and write, you cannot be qualified to be a candidate.
That's right.
A member of Parliament. Simo, do you know that this man had a speech, written in English,
I saw that.
Simeon, in block letters, Simeon.
Yes.
You know, when you were going to school, Simeon, it had long hand and short hand.
I shot that.
And I think script and cursive, how you just call it. Simeon, they write that. They put it in red so he couldn't miss a word on a white background. And Simeon, after several tries, the man cannot read what is written for him. Whole day or whole dinner, this damn name is, had to come and read it.
Yeah, that was one of the parts I saw. I saw somebody had to read the entire speech.
And simple enough. Well, if I win, I will build the road. If I win, I will do this. Not no big, long, high English thing, Simple.
Yeah.
That any standard for child would be able to read. After having difficulty in reading that speech, all day had to read the speech. And hand on to continue in Patois, Simeon.
Yes.
That is what you're offering.
Yes.
And then you're telling me, oh, how much bright people are in Grand Bay, and if you couldn't find somebody as bright as Vince, but you can't find one. You want me to one, you cannot find one. And I'm sure and I know that there are people in Grand Bay who can read and write and have doctorates and engineering. Of course.
Yes.
But even in that political climate, in that political situation, we wanted somebody who was all-rounded.
Yes. Yes.
We wanted somebody who had a history of community involvement. Simeon, you have these people there, but they were never in no youth group. They were never in a church group. They just went to school, got their degrees, went to work, and paid no attention to the development of Grand Bay. And allowed Grand Bay to deteriorate into almost tribalism. A division that was very, very, very glaring. Well, if you supported this candidate before, you were ostracized. And if you supported that candidate, you were ostracized. That is what we met existing in Grand Bay. And we have to fix it by sending a neutral candidate who fix the problem. But more importantly, to allow the government a little more latitude in executing policies in fighting COVID-19. You needed the best person at the time.
Yes.
And Vince is the best person at the time, with all due respect to all the bright people that have in Grand Bay. And why the United Workers' Party don't find one of all you? Why the United Workers' Party don't run the same bright candidate they were offering us? Why they don't choose one of you and send to run?
They choose anyone. They claim.
This guy is not interested in the development of anybody.
No.
Not Grand Bay, not Portsmouth, not Flakers, not Roseau. These guys do not want to serve. These guys want to make money. And they're getting more desperate. They want to put their hands in the cookie jar.
Yes, that's what they're looking
Because
for.
they see we have money and they just believe it's a money that does come out like water in a tap. But those monies are hard to make.
Yes.
Those money doesn't come to us as grants. Roosevelt Scary have to leave this country and go all over the Middle East, go to Pakistan, go to everywhere to find money, to raise money for us to do our business. And we've been very successful at it.
Yes.
And that is why they don't like the government, because they're looking down the barrel of a long, long gun. Where they see themselves in opposition. Well, they have to be, because their own internal war will not permit them to be settled in no time soon. You understand? With this leadership crisis they have going on, this disorganized party, that party can never be organized because that party has no base.
They have no ideology.
No ideology, no philosophy, no principle.
No.
This is a Tower of Babel where men invest in a country like a company. All these businessmen put their money, they stake. My brother, they gamble. And they put that money, they're hoping. Listen, James submitted 3 projects to the Aid Bank. And all these projects would have been funded by the government. But you don't see that. That's not a problem. Where the Prime Minister could get money from a particular fund and invest in government projects, including the stone crusher for an airport that was never going to be built.
Yes, a personal project that he put on as Prime Minister.
That's right. And he and Peter Carbon, because he saw these stones there in Melvin Hall, and he and Peter Carbon, that little jackass that in wherever he is, calling, talking shit all day, when he connived with Edison, and he had no authority. He had no legal authority to give Edison James any land, to bake any crusher, to crush any stones for any airport. That's the level of corruption. And ask Tony Astafan in the preliminary report that he prepared. You see the level of corruption that United Workers' Party was able to get involved with within 4.5 years.
I tell you what, very short time, and they did so much damage.
You understand me? So, Simo,
yes,
this government has committed itself to spare no effort to improving the lives of the people of Dominica. For education. See what we're doing in healthcare.
Yes.
They never talk about this. See, all 11 or 12 brand new modern health centers. A brand new hospital with some of the most modern equipment you can find in any hospital anywhere in the world. Yes. Not in the OECS and in the Caribbean. But in anywhere in the world. You can find this high quality equipment. See, we already beginning to change pacemakers in Dominica that is going into people's hearts. Could you imagine that, Simo?
Yes, I tell you,
We're
brother.
going into people's hearts and give them temporary pacemakers.
Yes.
And the plan is to be able to put in more permanent pacemakers very, very shortly. Simo, we have our intensive care unit. Before this government came into office, many, many people had died
That's right.
because we had no intensive care unit. We've saved lives. Many, many people have been to the ICU and they survived because of the presence of the ICU.
That's right.
In education, in health, in youth enterprise, in what again, Simo, in every aspect of Dominican society, you can see the improvement. You can see the improvement.
Yes.
But the United Workers' Party will never see it.
No.
Some of them don't know what it is. Some of them too dumb to see it. And some of them just being mischievous and malicious.
Yes.
But Simo,
Yes.
I believe that we are on our way to victory. And as long as you do not allow the United Workers' Party propaganda to keep our people away from the polls, and when they see us in Grand Bay, they say handbag that bring us Grand Bay.
Well, I just laugh at that.
Grand Bay is his boss.
I just laugh at that. I mean, when they...
And I hope this thing I see with a manic on his shoulder, in a post there. I hope it's those, those things all the fellas do with phone. That
Yeah.
cannot do.
Yeah.
But the man post with a manic A manic
Somebody must have Photoshop that one.
A manic Simo.
After he's...
Big grey manic
After he's at...
have
Yes.
on his shoulder like a parrot walking up and down the country.
After his
That is
admission.
I guess they know him and he know them well.
That's right. After his
Simo,
admission.
this is not a comic strip, man. This is real, man.
That's right. That's right.
This is not a circus, my brother.
That's right.
You can make a circus with the people of Grand Bay. You can create a circus with the people of Dominica. It's rude and it's disrespectful.
Of course it is.
And the people of Grand Bay must say that on Thursday.
Mm-hmm.
In the loudest way they can. That the United Workers' Party must have respect for the people of Grand Bay.
Of course. Mm-hmm.
One, that as a leading political party, you cannot find a candidate and you substitute in that with a guy who goes about with a manicu as a spec.
I tell you, brother. I tell you, brother. I tell you.
Help me, Simeon.
I tell you, brother.
I can't be normal watching that. This cannot be the real world we're in. But we have an opportunity
Yes.
as labor rights to ensure that this machination of the United Workers' Party does not succeed. That these men cannot put a man that cannot read and write and tell me to go and change the law and call the handbag amendment bill.
Amendment bill, we.
The handbag amendment bill, we must debate that on the first sitting of Parliament.
That's my joke of the week.
To allow handbag to be able to speak back to any Parliament in the House with people, and you can say one or two words.
Yes.
And the speaker will tell you to translate it.
Translate, yes, translate.
But you cannot tell me we'll facilitate Creole in our Parliament. It has to come. Santusha has done it, but it's not here yet, my brother. Because we have other things that are very, very important that we have to deal with.
Yes.
You understand?
Yes, yes.
And you're telling me that you must go to Parliament and pass the handbag amendment bill
Yeah,
to
Papa.
allow your candidate to enter the Parliament. Otherwise, he'll not be able to sit in the Parliament. He'll not be able to represent the Grand Bay people. He'll not be able to represent anybody in the Parliament. Because one of the qualifications is you have to be able to speak English in the Parliament.
Yes.
You have to speak English in the Parliament.
Read and write the English language.
Read and write it and understand it too.
Yes, of course.
See, man, when this man gets his budget, his document for budget, what's going to happen? I mean, if he wins, that's not going to happen because he's not going to win. But imagine.
Yes.
Imagine. The member for Grand Bay standing up to make his contribution. Simeon, boy.
Well,
what a day.
I not even imagining that one.
What a day. Oh, what a day.
That would just...
will be. And the people, the name of the people of Grand Bay will be mentioned consistently. And there are some assholes in the sorry,
Yes.
Simo.
Yeah,
Simo,
but you're excused.
I didn't finish saying.
Yeah.
I didn't finish saying, Simon.
But you can say some donkeys.
Yeah. Yeah, but not even that one because anything I say already is crucifixion for me.
But
this guy in the diaspora.
Yes.
Who refuse to come down to make their contribution, who sit in their comfort zone and want to dictate to the people of Grand Bay. Contribution that they have, Crispin Gregoire spent 7 days at the UN. What contribution did he make to the people of Grand Bay? And when he was called upon to represent the people of Granby. He said he could not leave his wife and the comfort of his home in the United States and come down to represent the niggers of Granby.
Imagine that.
Huh?
Imagine.
And today you want to come and say who should be and telling the people of Granby that they should vote for handbag? That's what Crispin Gregoire says to the people of Granby.
The savior. Imagine that. They say he's your savior.
Not only savior of Dominica, the savior of the world. Anyway, Simo boy, I start to get a little warm.
Yes.
and you know when I get warm.
Yes.
What does happen already?
But it's important, Senior Minister, that you said we will go further into on Tuesday the issues of our achievements.
That's right.
Because there is a
We have
lot.
to look at it from where we were, and I showed you tonight where we were.
Yes. Yes.
Where we've come from.
Yes.
And what we have done. And so, Simeon, while you can talk about 21 years, 21 calendar years,
Yes.
but when you remove all the obstacles that we've had, we probably only had about 10 good years, eh?
Yeah, at least.
10 good years. When you watch where we were and what we had to do to get out of where we were. So to tell the people, oh, that Labour had 21 years in government, without telling them
Yes.
the circumstances that were there when we got in 20 years ago and what we had to go through, it's dishonest.
Of course it is.
It's dishonest. You can say that, yes, 20 years, but you must also state what the conditions were then and what the conditions are now.
No.
Simo, I'm going to stop.
Thank you again.
Thank you for tolerating me. I hope I didn't
Always a
put the
pleasure.
program into disrepute.
Not at all, Senior Minister. Always a pleasure. Yeah.
I have to raise those few issues with you and to ask the people of Granby to be very, very careful of the choices they make. And not going to vote is not a choice.
That's right. That's right.
In the circumstances, you have two choices. You go and you vote for the Labour Party. Well, one choice is to go out there and to vote for the Dominican Labour candidate to give you continuity. You understand?
Yes.
And to have it going in, to have somebody, handbag in opposition, not only handbag in parliament, but handbag in the opposition.
That's right.
So how does he represent, how does he bring development, how does he bring life to the people in Granby?
So pass out.
Just follow what Danny Luge and Sprague John, they refuse to seek for assistance for their constituents.
That's right.
Clinton tell is like going to a fish market. So you're not going to ask nobody, no government, nothing for the people of Mario. Let them starve and die instead. He has too much pride. And Sprague John saying the same thing. And Danny Luge not saying nothing.
I tell you, brother.
So you have another man in the opposition, handbag. And this one cannot understand what's good. So if those men can understand what's going on in the parliament and they cannot do nothing about it, how is poor handbag going to survive this?
Oh, Lord have mercy. Let's pray for him anyway.
When they're going to walk and travel and walk the streets of Dominica and travel and say that we're from Granby and handbag is our pirate.
Sabake Tovai.
Simo,
That will talk.
good night, my brother.
Take care, brother.
Enjoy the rest of your weekend.
Thank you again.
Stay safe and continue. Let's continue to pray for the government.
Yes.
Let's continue to pray for the people of Dominica. And let us ensure that the abuse and the disrespect being meted out by the United Workers' Party shall not succeed.
Indeed.
And even they plan to keep you out of the polls. That's what the United Workers' Party doing. They want to keep you out of the polls. They don't want you to go and vote, frightening you and scaring you.
Yes, with their propaganda.
If you're elected, we're going to go to court, and they call the police, and they ask the commissioner to investigate. What the commissioner will do? Arrest him? No, man, Simo. Simo, this is just a joke. But the life of the people cannot be considered a joke.
That's right.
Politics is not a joke. It impacts the life of the people negatively or positively.
That's right.
And so we cannot make joke. We cannot turn the parliament and the people of Granby into a circus.
That's right.
Bossman, if you want to act in a zoo, go and find a zoo. You know them fellas with the big pink nose and the cap on the head and the pointed shoes?
Yes.
Slinging on rope and handbag. Anyway, let me don't say that. I think handbag running up with enough manico and agouti, and he'll be a good circus performer. But
Yes,
let us leave that there, Tim.
Yes, I. Thank you
Good night,
again.
Simeon.
Thank you.
Thank you. God
Thank
bless
you. Indeed. Thank you, Senior Minister. Certainly a delivery by you there tonight as you highlighted, the events that transpired during the tenure of the UWP and the struggles that the Dominican Labour Party had to undertake, with the loss of 2 prime ministers to repair and rebuild Dominica. If all the triumphs and tribulations that we have been through, but Dominica continue to strive in a positive direction. Whoa, I tell you, what a delivery there by the senior minister and senior counsel, Anthony Astafande, tonight. Definitely putting, setting the record straight, So this talk about, illegal candidate and all of this foolishness tonight was certainly laid to rest. Of course, it's already 11:59 and I got to make my way out. So I got to take a short break there. When I come back, we will wrap up tonight's discussion. There's certainly a powerful contribution there by senior minister.
Uh-huh. Everybody! Jala, look at Weston. 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 We shall not be, we shall not be moved. We shall not be, we shall not be moved. Just like the trees that planted by the waters, Labour Party shall not be moved. We shall not be, we shall not be moved. We shall not be, we shall not be moved. Just like the trees that planted by the waters, Labour Party shall not be moved. They could come with propaganda, all their lies and all their slander, try to mislead the people with their hate and all their evil. We shall not be, we shall not be moved. We shall not be, we shall not be moved. Just like the trees that planted by the waters, Labour Party shall not be moved. The best thing that happened to this country is Garrett and the Labour Party. We wanna bring to bankruptcy. Now have a growth in the economy. God's a leader with endless vision, youthfulness and dedication. Suspect that things would be tight. Went to China on the next flight. Cuba and Venezuela, what a brilliant leader. We shall not be, we shall not be moved. We shall not be, we shall not be moved. Just like the trees that planted by the waters, Labour Party shall not be moved. We shall not be, we shall not be moved. We shall not be,
we shall not be moved.
Just like the trees that planted by the waters, Labour Party shall not be moved. They could come with propaganda, all their lies and their slander, trying to mislead my people with their hate and evil. We shall not be, we shall not be moved. We shall not be, we shall not be moved. Just like the trees that planted by the waters, Labour Party shall not be moved. That's it. Look at Weston. Look at Weston.
Oh yes, Nujala Duke Weston. I got to make my way out of here. It's always a pleasure doing this program for you, the listeners, of course. But all good things got to come to an end. It's been a long week for me, and I got to go get some rest. So again, want to thank Senior Minister for his really sterling contribution here tonight on the next level, of course. And Senior Counsel, thank you for really, setting the record straight in regard to the issue of disqualification and where it would relate to the nomination of our candidate in this by-election there, and the argument being put forward by the opposition. Certainly, I believe tonight this has been laid to rest. But the discussion will continue on Tuesday, as you know, on the 25th. Yes, this time run by so quickly. Grand Bay, South City will be going to the polls to elect our candidate. Yes, our candidate, Dr. Vincent Desson, who will no doubt continue the representation that our comrade, yes, deceased brother Edward Regis, yes, was working hard to achieve. And so, like many who have come and gone, he played his role and he has departed. And at this point in time, Grand Bay, yes, who have always been solid with the Dominican Labour Party, will again elect another one of our very own, yes, who have served in government, who have served at many opportunities that have been offered to make sure that Dominica move forward will know, yes, our ambassador at the United Nations, OAS, I mean, just name it. Ambassador Henderson have served in so many places, and now he is the candidate that the UWP and all those within this organization cannot believe that they are going to have to deal with. But they're going to have to deal with it anyway. And nothing they can do. Nothing. And I say nothing they can do. They can go in the cemetery. They can light all what they want to light. Because we shall not be moved. Just like a tree that is planted by the waters, Labour Party shall not be moved. Again, thank you again to all of you, the many folks who called in tonight, and those of you who did not call. I want to thank you all for listening. I want to say good night to my dad, who is always, of course, listening to this program, and my family there. And, of course, want to send out sympathy, my deepest sympathy there to the family of Norman Stumpy Dorival, out of the Kenfield area. Stumpy, my partner there, passed away. And he definitely, I've seen him for a couple of times there, and, definitely saying that I need to pass and see him. And suddenly I'm getting this news that, Mr. Stumpy Dorival has passed away, and many of you would have known him. Of course, he, was one of the guys who was playing with the Swinging Stars Band back in those days. Of course, it worked in the customs, and so he has gone to the great beyond, and we want to, of course, ask God for his blessings over his family, and that they will continue to stay strong during this moment of loss in the family. So again, Stumpy man, farewell, and God bless you on the other side, where we all have to come one day, but you are advanced, and you serve your time, you did your part, and like many, you say goodbye. And so we want to extend again our deepest sympathy to his family. But I got to say good night to you. Thanks to all the folks who join us on the Kyrie FM Facebook page. It's always a pleasure having you all, and many of you stay on with us all night. So I want to thank you all, and to all the folks who did not call but you listen, thank you for listening, and continue to listen, as on the next level, it is the only place where you will get the facts. And I say the facts, and only the facts, because that's what we present to you here. So the propaganda that you get coming from the other side, you're not going to get that kind of propaganda there. You can take what we give you to the court, you can take it to the bank, because it's the facts. Nothing but the facts. All right, so good night to you again, and do have a wonderful weekend. Let's continue to remember that this coming week is going to be a big week for the people of Granby, as we continue again to keep Labour alive. And I leave you with none other than we are going to keep the fire. Yes, we're going to keep the fire burning. So good night, and God bless you.
Have no capability. Don't mind if you red, green or black, once you have Dominica at heart. Right now the country making progress, which means our leader is very blessed, who behaving like the power possess. I believe they want to feather their nest. Keep the fire burning. burning, burning. Keep the fire